I'm so in. I'm so in. Check this out. Hello everybody and welcome back. I need to stop going live because I'm going to get burnt out. Here's what we're looking at, by the way. Oh, change the screen's aspect ratio. Dude, in the past 30 days I've streamed 30 hours. That's like an hour a day. Ew. And I... Hold up. I need to center this camera better. That's fine. Dude, look, this is by week. This is the January 26th through February 1st week. 16 hours, basically 17. We're 7 minutes away from 17, or 8 minutes away from 17 hours. That's wild. My goal was 10. My goal was to stream 10 hours. I just got hooked on Half-Life. Alright, but today we need to finish that. We need to finish what we started. It's true. Open up Steam. I feel like, hold on. No, that sucks. Oh, yeah, that's what I know. I was like, my lighting looks extra orange. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Half-Life 2, baby. The YouTube stats are going pretty good. I've officially reached the point where my past 10 uploads are just, exclusively, streams, so that's exciting. Now all I'm comparing to is my old stream stats. Alright, pause the music. What the hell? I think this is good. Yeah. Load game, baby. Okay. So... this is right where we left off. I really wish I said what time it was in that clip, because, dude, it's hilarious. Like, I really, like, 1000%, like, I did not realize I had to go into work, or that I didn't realize that I was already, like, late for work, you know? I'll just wait here for this guy. But I didn't realize I was like already supposed to be at work. What the fuck?
You gotta take those hunters out first.
Oh.
Strider coming from the crane.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Fuck. The log is good. That's so nice. They should have introduced those in Half-Life 2. I don't like the color. Well, that's the problem. It looks better. It's just not what I'm used to. I should just keep it though. Yeah.
They're traveling in packs.
They're traveling in packs. Hold on, I'm gonna take my Apple Watch off. Messing with my gaming. Alright, where they at? They confused me with the sawmill shit. They were like, just go to the sawmill, it'll all make sense. I'm like, will it? And then it didn't. Fuck. How did I do that? Oh, with its own? Oh. It's fire. Quit backing up. Oh, they're just going that way. Like, why are you backing up? That's the lamest shit. Oh my god. If only Alex had a log. I'm so glad I learned about log strat. Thank you, Red BR. Alright. Get over here, Strider. Come here, boy. Ooh. Yeah, that will never get old. That will never get old.
Keep up the good work. Only a few striders left.
I was totally not gonna do this before I had to go into work though. That's just a fact. How many shots do I have on this thing? Don't say what used to be the sawmill, that's so mean. I would not be offended if you called it what it was.
Freeman, you seeing this?
Yes, I'm seeing this. Tired of these questions. Oh fuck, I thought that was a gravity gun. Damn it, I wasted that so hard. Alright, hunters. It's time to shut the fuck up and die. Type shit. I got the strats. Ooh. Clean. Any more? That's tough. Yeah. I got enough bombs for this. You know what I'm saying? Leave. Yeah, I did not get the objective at first though. Thank God for chat. Low-key. I would have googled that shit. I'd have been like, am I like escaping? Is that like the idea? It's right over here, right? Oh, there's actually a lot. Okay. Many Striders, but only one Gordon, contrary to popular belief. They should have given me a slot for a log and a bomb. What the fuck? Come on.
Take this med kit.
Take this med kit.
The Striders and Hunters are working
I
together.
know. They will not take me out. I refuse to go. Dude, it doesn't make sense, dude. I was adjusting the color of my ring light. Like, how does that have anything to do with OBS's like stability? I don't know, man. That's always some shit on here. Always some shit. It's because I paused the game. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand why selecting Half-Life would be encoding overloaded. That's on you. That's on you, OBS. Oh my god. I gotta stop sneezing directly into the mic like that. I think that's what it is. I don't mean why OBS crashed. Alright, don't get stepped on by a Strider. I've got it. Dude, chill. You suck. Fuck! Two shot from some logs. There we go. And now the Strider. Bull. I'll say it every time. I'll say it never gets old every time. Alright. I prioritize the bigger dot. What can I say? Stop. I know. Does he have any hunters? Where are your hunters, young man? Young man, where are your hunters? You have no hunters? What's on you? You don't have hunters. Hello? Get out of there. Oh, other one.
Another strider from the water tower.
Alright, this is fun. I get it now. I just thought there was like one solid place that was supposed to be. I didn't realize it was just like a battleground. Do they have hunters anymore? This guy's ready to just fucking die. What the fuck? And I lived? It's pretty bad though. Oh wait, we might just be able to... Hold on. Always some bullshit. Like you always gotta make up a reason I died. What? Stupid. Like it must be. Hold on. I forgot the note. I forgot the streaming sign on my door. Oh, I'm tired of that. Like, oh, the Strider's here without any fucking, what do you call it? Without any hunters. And then here it is. And guess what? Did I forget I had one on my car? Or, wait, did I not have it? What happened there? I probably shouldn't be playing Nintendo music right now. Alright. What exactly happened here? Oh, I think, yeah, I got out to do it. And he's on like a rampage. Okay, fine. You have nothing to hunt for. Don't you understand? Papa's dead. Oh my god. Don't get too close to them. What? Drop ships. Die, die, die. Die, fucking die. Oh my god, I'm so tired of it. Die. Gear up. Dude, you think I can just gear up? Oh, let me go to my gear station and up. Like what? No. Gear up, everyone. I have no gear. I have no up. God, it's taking my gear and my up. Stupid. Alright, well. So we're gonna do this on no gear. No strider. No strider. Alright. Take this gear. Well, I'm only one man. Just one guy. Just one free man. Or woman. We don't know. That's too far. For sure. Well, okay. Now you're overwhelming me. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. They can do some sick shit? No, they're not. It's always on me to do everything here. Just a log. Oh, that's sick. Whatever, man. Dude, do you think I'm not trying? it's these stupid hunters. They distract me. They're fulfilling their purpose. But like, ugh. Lamest way. I don't know if I'm gonna be good. I think they're all gonna close in on this fucking base, man. Do the devices? No, they don't. Oh, these buildings. Ugh. Dude, I don't have this many bombs and this many, like, people. At a certain point of the plot, we need to give up. I don't know, is there a way to get more? Sneak one in my side seat, don't tell nobody. Nope, of course not. Because nothing good can happen to me. Alright, I'm gonna die, man. Like, unless there's literal supplies in here. Oh my god! Well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? That's on you. Oh, it was the same. It was the one I was fighting. Yeah. Holy yeah. I'm the only one around here that does some damn shit. Maybe I just stay here, man. Maybe I just defend them, defended them as they come. I wish they'd just disintegrate if they didn't have their papa. That's two of them. Say that again? Okay. Maybe here's what I'll do. Oh, fuck! Oh, I know. Oh, too much. Too much. Alright, fine. I'm gonna throw a log at every individual hunter. Is that what you want from me right now, Half-Life 2? I can't do that. I can't do that right now. She's texting me and she should just know to check my Twitch. Fuck! Oh my god, oh my god. I'm overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed. Alright, fine. I know. Oh. Okay. Okay. I just, oh, save me right here. Sure. Calm the fuck on. Can I just throw these at them? At a certain point? Dude, who's slapping me? What? Oh my god. History will say bad save. I say bad design. I say bad game. Fine, slap me to death. Hate that. Sure, I'll count it. Welcome to the Urgent Babako. Dude, what are these names, man? Can I ever be followed by like Greg27? There's always some shit. Fuck yeah. Dude, what? What was that? Did he not latch onto the guy himself? Oh, because the hunters shoot them off? Are you kidding me? Harvest me! Feast on me alive! Finish. Oh my god. I know, man. No! What is this? What? Oh, I don't want to fight them. I don't want to fight like 7 hunters. I don't have it in me. I don't have enough health. I don't have enough health. I don't have any weapons that are good for this shit. I have 3. You want 3 rockets? Yeah? Actually, that's probably a really good idea. Hold on. I'm gonna load and do that. I'm gonna load and do that. Out of my face. Okay, and then I can't find a rocket launcher. Okay. God. What is that? What is that? I made sure to put my cursor on the guy so it could fly around him and then shoot the other bomb. Oh my god, it shot the spider's leg. I know it's just a bad save. I know it's just a bad save. I know it's just a bad save. But I persevere. Maybe I should just shoot them both while they're here. What was that? They tank rockets now? Alright. Yeah. I can do this. It's just one of them. Getting real close to cooked here. Am I saving the old-fashioned way? What the fuck, man? What the fuck? That's a failure, right? There was one right there, lol. I don't know. I don't even know what object you were talking about. Oh, right there. I see. Alright, I see. I think this is a horrible save. I think it's actually impossible to do anything in time. I think, yeah. I'm the bad saber! Why do they take a rocket now? I don't understand when that changed. Oh! How did you come back up? You never killed it. Shut! Shut! There we fucking go. Beast mode.
We did it! Good work, everyone!
My cheeks hurt from going.
Attention! Attention! The Striders have been defeated! All personnel return to base immediately! Repeat! All personnel return to base immediately!
Is this base? I think it's base.
Hey, Gordon Freeman.
Yes.
Wow. Thanks, Freeman.
Oh, man.
Good going.
Man, oh man.
Wow, Gordon. You were amazing out there.
Yeah, it was electric. Beast mode. Where?
Is in its final stages.
Oh, so everyone knows the passcode but me. Great.
Magnuson sure will be in time to stop it.
Complete. Tracking beacon. Oh, there's another bit of cruft we can ignore. Support equipment powered down. Hold on a moment, Kleiner. Ah.
Gordon! Could have worked much quicker out there.
The device performed flawlessly. I feel compelled to thank you personally for saving my rocket. So,
Center yourself.
thank you. Well, that's enough chit-chat. I've got a rocket to launch.
Oh, okay.
Wow. For a minute there, I thought you were going to get a hug.
Check.
Let's go to the control room. We can
Let's
get a
go to the
great view of
control
the launch
room.
from there.
Why are we launching a rocket again?
Flight termination system.
Get to like
Well, here we are
Titanic or
again.
whatever. The Borealis?
There are no backup sites.
While you were out having fun, I found an old helicopter that I was able to get working. I've got it all packed up and ready to go. Never a dull moment, huh?
Wait a moment. I'm seeing a payload anomaly of approximately 8.5 pounds.
Well, that's within tolerance. Certainly not worth scuttling.
Back!
At last.
Gordon,
Hello.
hell of a job you did out
Where the hell did Barney go exactly?
Let's not forget that with the Magnuson device, those
I need to move this. Move this. Like right. What the fuck? Like right above.
Striders practically
There
destroy
we go.
themselves.
Yes. Well, I think perhaps Gordon had something to do with their success.
I suggest we adjourn this meeting of the Mutual
that's
Admiration
sick.
Society until after we have launched our rocket. Now, I believe we're ready to start the auto sequence.
Let's start the auto sequence.
You'll hear no objection from me.
All right.
It's all yours, Gordon.
And something terrible is gonna happen when I do it.
Silo doors open. Stations, everyone. Power to main thrusters.
They're literally just setting up Blue Shift 2. I'm saying it.
T-minus 10.
They're like, what was he doing during Half-Life episode 2? Half-Life 2 episode 2.
5,
Steady.
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
We did it!
Just get control of myself.
Yes!
Fantastic.
Deep breath. Deep breath. Now it is still too early to celebrate. We need to reach altitude and transmit the signal.
Too right. The clock is ticking.
We
That's
couldn't
never
have
gonna
cut it
happen.
any closer if that was our intention.
It is going to work, right?
It has to.
Once the rocket is in range of the portal, we'll be able to switch on the xenium resonator.
Uh-oh.
Well, let's get
Don't say
outside.
Zen.
I'd like a better view of
I don't like that.
There should be quite a show. Regrettably, I can't come out with you. Magnuson and I will need to keep a close eye on the rocket's trajectory.
Aren't you
I'm
going to
standing on bro's head.
Just as soon as this is wrapped up, I wouldn't dream of letting you go without a proper goodbye.
Okay, I'll hold you to that. You too, Dr. Magnuson.
Indeed.
We'll catch up with you in a moment, sweetheart.
Yay.
Gordon, hold up a
Dog,
second.
there you are.
The more I think about that warning from our friend, the more I'm convinced it has to do with Borealis. Don't be deceived. That ship must never be used. You have got to destroy it, whatever the cost.
Where are
True.
you two? You're gonna miss it.
Be right there, Alex.
Prepare for
Thanks for everything
unforeseen
you've done for Alex,
consequences.
for all of us. I couldn't be prouder if you were my own son. When
Wow.
you get back, we've got a lot to talk about.
Wink.
Come on.
Gordon, Alex, look at the portal.
Portal storm. Are we sending? Oh, is it
Activated the resonator.
a big bomb to like
This is
kill
it.
Zen or some shit?
My
Oh, to close it.
portal has been neutralized.
Did it.
Yes.
Did it, Gordon.
Rocket
We sure as hell did, and not a moment too
I knew it
soon.
would work. I'm a Gino.
I'll bet the Combine aren't too happy right now.
You got that right, sweetheart. But we've got plenty to celebrate. I wish you didn't have to head off so soon. If only it weren't so critical.
It is
okay,
that
Dad.
critical.
We'll find Judith and bring her back.
Judith.
Dog? Hey, where are you? What a nut.
Well,
Don't go too far.
he's probably onto something. I love when a Half-Life 1 sound effect plays. It just stands out from the compression alone, but even just the.
Gassed up and ready to go.
Remember to
Alright.
keep in constant contact. We have no idea what to expect.
Don't worry, Dad. We'll be all right.
Be all
I
right.
just wish all this didn't have to fall on you, Alex. Your mother would be so proud.
Dad. Come on, Gordon. The chopper's waiting for us.
Are you sure you have everything you need?
I think so.
Got my crowbar.
Dr. Kleiner gave us the Borealis coordinates. We'll keep the hailing frequency open on the chopper radio in case Judith tries to reach us again.
Oh, Judith.
She could well make another attempt.
She could die in a pit. I wouldn't care.
Dad! Gordon!
Hey, it's that thing.
Dad!
Alex!
Dad!
Uh-oh.
Get away!
Uh-oh.
Listen to me. Destroy that ship! Whatever it takes! Destroy it!
Don't! Dad, look out! No! Dad! Dad! God damn it, let go of him!
There's another. And then a third, and then a fourth, and then a
Oh
fifth.
my god!
I love you, sweetheart. Close your eyes, honey.
Oh my god, is he gonna
I love
get
you,
ripped in
Dad.
half?
No! Oh my god, no! No! Gordon!
Dog! Oh,
Dad! Oh god! Dad! Dad! Dad, please! Dad!
yikes.
Oh my god! No! No! Oh my god! Dad! No! Don't leave me!
Okay. I thought it would be a bigger cliffhanger. That was like, yeah, I can't wait to destroy the ship on episode 3. Yeah. It's definitely set up to be kind of like a trilogy. I was expecting it's like the biggest cliffhanger in gaming. And it's like, how could they not make it episode 3? But I'm like, all right. I think if/when they do Half-Life 3, then that's gonna go crazy. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I had an idea. Because I was like, this is gonna be such a short stream. What if we watch the Half-Life 2 documentary? You're live on Twitch. Oh, where's my shit on there? I think it's free. I think you can legally like show it on your stream. I don't know. How screwed were you with work yesterday? Nah, I honestly wish I unmuted the call. Because I muted my microphone while I called my boss and said, hey, but I just work at AMC. You know, 4 versus 5 doesn't make that much of a difference. They were kind of busy, but nothing that like I needed to be there for. Yeah, I should have left my microphone unmuted though. That would have been a sick clip. But I think the clip ended up great though. I can go to it here. I titled it. Oh wait. I titled it "Gaming at 4:06 p.m." Well, how much longer is it gonna take me? Can I get out of here? There we go. Well, how much longer is it gonna take me? Because my hard out is 10 minutes. I'm like 4:16. I gotta get out of here. I'm like, I think I say maybe 20. Oh, maybe 20. And I'm like, no, I can't leave for work at 4:26. It takes me 20 minutes to get there. I'm supposed to be there at 5. And then it hits. No. Oh my god. And I'm 6 minutes late for work. Holy fuck. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's really bad. Horrible. Yeah, no, that's just I ended the clip there, but I guess there's the little bit more. Finish Half-Life 2 episode 2 tomorrow, everyone. Yeah. It's a good clip though. I do wish I thought you were 1 hour late. I was 1 hour late. Yeah. I was supposed to go in at 4. And I ended up going in at 5 because it was 4:06 and I was playing Half-Life and I wasn't even dressed.
Break to
it was bad.
A window of an abandoned factory.
All right. Well, I also had a little segment though, because if we're gonna react to something, we're gonna watch some shit. Imagine you still prefer Half-Life 1. I think I do. But I think it's one of those things. I think it's one of those things where I go back to it and I go, maybe it's not that great. Then I put Black Mesa, and then I go, it's the goat. So we'll see. But anyway, I had a segment here. For watching shit? Oh my god. Why not get the popcorn maker out? Let's make some popcorn. Which of Half-Life 2 did you prefer? The problem is I played them in such rapid succession that they kind of all blended together. I think Half-Life 2 itself is pretty good though. Just the base game. The episodes were like, they really got more into like the story. That was cool to see for Half-Life. It was cool to see that progression going from something that's like kind of mysterious, kind of like, you know, like in Half-Life 1, you obviously know like the resonance cascade and shit, but like you have to pay attention to the story a lot in Half-Life 1. And it's cool to see like characters and you grow a connection to them and you actually care for them in Half-Life 2. That's kind of different. But I just think about like how far each game comes from the beginning of itself. In Half-Life 2, man, you're in that train and you just arrive in the city. And then you're like shooting the metro police. It's just a fun game. Where do I want to do? I'm gonna do this back here. Or can this reach? Alright, check me out. Okay. Dude, I don't think this is a good idea. Trust. Not sure if the couch is a good place for it. No. We have a board. I'm not gonna sit here while we watch. Oh, that's so loud. Dude, how bad is it? Oh my god. When I talk, does it just get even worse? Or I guess I'll play it back in my own ears. Hello, hello, hello. No, I can't hear it. Make sure it doesn't fall. It's a good couch. Okay. Well, that's going. I'm gonna do my review. Hold on. What the fuck? What am I looking at? Why does that say mobile? Is there a mobile port? Is there an official Android port of Half-Life 2? Is that what I'm seeing? Oh, NVIDIA Shield. Yuck. Okay. Alright. Half-Life 2 itself. What did I give Half-Life 1? I guess that's more important. .5, 2.5, 4.5. Okay, okay. I think it's one step down. Oh shit. I'm gonna give it that. Finished. Wait, what the fuck? 4. Every noise it makes, I'm gonna freak out. Oh my god. Ew. Okay. I try to go letterbox style on this shit and give it like a quirky one-liner. Okay, oh wait, let me figure out my stars first. Half-Life 2 Episode 1, I'm saying like I think I liked it slightly more than Episode 2. I don't want to give it a 3 though. Maybe this gets a 4.5 and Half-Life gets bumped up to a 5. I think that's how I'm gonna do this. Hello? People usually prefer Episode 2 over 1. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I liked 2. I think I liked 1 slightly more. I'll save those, then I'll... Oh my god, so much to fill out. Let me see my play times. Half-Life 2, 22 hours? That can't... Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh shit. How would you find your individual playtime? For... I don't have to. I just like to for this site since they have it. How would I find my individual playtime for each of the individual pieces of the game? Look at VODs. But I played Fortnite in some of them. Twitch. All right, we'll do a rough estimate. Nah, I just won't fill it out. I can't. Why isn't it moving? Make enough to fill the bucket. All right. I could find my start and end dates though. I played Half-Life 2, January 24th. I could stop looping this song. Thought this was gonna be quicker. 24th. And I ended it. Yeah, I ended it January 27th. Cool. Well, maybe, do you think it knows? No, it doesn't. I don't know. I'll save that for now. I'll beat this John in 1 day. I was very happy about that. 30th. I feel like this section kind of sounds like shit. I feel like I'm kind of unlistenable. Probably. What's this website? This is Minimap. I just tried to find a letterbox for games. It's not widely used at all. Kind of sucks, actually. The profiles kind of look like shit. But I just wanted to have something to track games, you know? That wasn't like IMDb. So you can import different accounts and shit. That's kind of sick. Why is it showing my friend code? That's wild. Yeah, I did that in 1 day. And this one took me to. Okay. Well, not edit. Ugh. This one took me the span of 2 months to finish. It's true. I put PC, right? Yeah. I love how many versions it's on. It is on the orange box for console. All right. So hot. Alright. Also the OG Xbox port. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And isn't Half-Life original on like PS2 and shit? Okay. I'll come up with witty one-liners later. I'm bored right now. Alright. Focus. This is what I'm gonna react to. If it takes 2 hours, it'll be 3:30 off. Fine. I should have brought it up. I'm gonna put salt on this. Not butter though. I don't like butter and popcorn. What do you mean no salt? Just put salt on it. Maybe it comes with salt if that's what you guys. I don't know. Okay. I better up in my stream title. I'm gonna stay in the Half-Life 2 category though. Don't fuck around. All right. I think we're finally ready. Actually, real quick, I just want to listen to how bad that must have sounded while I was still popping. Hold on. Oh, wait. Can I watch it as I'm doing it? Not live. Not live. No, not live. Videos. Yeah. I'm so... How did this sound? Okay. Oh, it wasn't so bad. If someone clicked in, I think it's one. They would have thought this was shit. They get it though. They completely get it. I think what helps is the shot is framed, me sitting here sideways with a literal popcorn maker, and a big bucket like that looks like popcorn. Every noise it makes, I'm gonna freak out. I kind of wish it fell, though. I wish it fell. Popcorn scattered everywhere. Would have been a good clip. Maybe I should set it up that way next time. Okay. I'm really excited for this. I loved this Half-Life 1 documentary. I was like, please don't spoil Half-Life 2. Please don't spoil it in literally any way. The couch is on fire. No. It was a good couch. That's even better. If I have to storm downstairs and say, where's the fire hydrant? Oh, that's so funny. All right. I'm really excited for this. Should I go?
I always had been doing since my childhood a bit of urban exploration, so I love to like break through a window of an abandoned factory or building or train station. So that's one of my hobbies. Used to be. What's on the roof?
Is the volume good?
You know, what's in an abandoned building cellar and in a factory.
And have you watched this? Because I assume everyone in the community probably watched this. Maybe I should mute unless I'm talking.
At the time when I did my first photo shoot of the Austerlitz station, it was under construction. But then there
And they bring people that worked on Half-Life 2, but it's not on Valve anymore to interview about the time. You mean like Valve doesn't like have like the right to ask about like what was it like working at Valve? They aren't working for Valve anymore. Yeah.
Like a lot more successful than we had any reason to expect. And now we had to follow it up, right? We didn't want to have a sophomore slump. We didn't want to be a, a one and done kind of company. So now we had the terrifying obligation to our customers and to our fans to somehow advance our game design skills, our technology, all needed to level up for
Should I put on subtitles? Who likes
I think
that
a bunch
shit?
of us were really shocked by
Why are they gray?
Half-Life 1.
Why are they gray?
We were this young, unproven company. I don't think any of us really knew what to expect when we finished the game. I remember when we started working on Half-Life 2, we had already set the bar pretty high for ourselves.
So during Half-Life 2, what we were really trying to do is take advantage
Why are they dark?
of the visibility.
Pause. What? I don't like subtitles.
Half-Life had created for us in the industry.
Someone out there
to
does.
continue to hire
It looks
the best
duplicated,
people that we
yeah.
could find in the world. It just got easier. The bar didn't get any lower, but the
At 412, is that like a...
Break to a window
Dude,
of
what?
an abandoned factory or building or train station. So that's one of my
advantage of to hire the best people that we could find in the world. It just got easier. The bar didn't get any lower, but the fact that we had, it went from, hey, this weird dude who worked on operating systems wants to convince you he can run a game company, to, oh, Half-Life won a bunch of awards, and now they're working on a sequel to that.
It was either my first week or my first day was actually
Remove the background, yeah.
for Mike Harrington, the co-founder.
Yeah, I came to Valve when it was just tiny. We had, I think, or maybe 10 or so people. Dave and I grew up together in Louisiana, so he and I had always talked about maybe starting a game company at some point. And during Half-Life, that kind of changed to maybe instead of that, the dream could be you come and work here at this window, with me.
Yeah, and I interviewed the day that Half-Life went gold, and I took the team photo.
What is this?
There's like an old photo of us.
What is this? Why? Oh, wait, did I maybe change the text font opacity? Oh, how did that even happen? If that's not a keybind, dude, how does that even happen? Oh, this is sick. I didn't even know about that. Dude, subtitles are sick.
Yeah, I was freaking out.
I was actually working on a video game concept in high school, and I was seeking a mentor, and I got in touch with Mark Laidlaw at Valve. I guess it was the right time and right place, and quite a bit of luck, and I ended up getting an internship that way. I guess I was 17 at the time.
So you've got a whole company that's familiar with tools and a whole process, and then we just started over. Like, we rebuilt the tools and we rebuilt the engine. So at this long period of time where we could sort of take our time on design, and so we spent a lot of time working on story and just trying to figure out how to make this thing
that's sick.
Somehow more epic. And those discussions eventually led to this idea that, so in Half-Life 1, you open this portal, some strange rift to another dimension, and we thought, well, what if that broadcasts this signal to the universe that's like, oh, there's this planet there, it's free air and water. And so then we sort of came up with this idea of, well, there's this mega organization that's resource starved, and they're just gonna come and take it if they can.
How many years passed between? 6?
Yeah.
So I would say the first 2 years, we tried a lot of things, and a lot of those stories arcs that we had initially didn't have.
Wow. I forget how much work goes into this shit.
From Black Mesa or any of that.
There was originally going to be three different alien races, like the bugs, the religious ones, and the Antlions.
I love scrapped ideas.
That bug race that was supposed to be a much bigger part of the game.
It had 3 alien races: the warrior aliens, the insect aliens, and the spy aliens. And it had like a Prague-like city, which ended up being the closest thing to City 17. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of writing music. Everyone was sort of riffing ideas on, well, what if we did this or tried that? I remember we were really ambitious at the beginning. I remember we designed, 4 cities at one point: Prague, Jerusalem, Chicago,
Half-Life Chicago.
Los Angeles, I believe. We had an Arctic base, an underwater base, an icebreaker ship, an airplane sequence that crashed into a high-rise, which we cut right after 9/11.
Wait, that's awesome.
Several combine bases in the wasteland.
Dude, they should have went with it.
Which is where
by 2007, you can have plane crashes.
The atmosphere from Earth. We had a train depot and so on. So we really obviously had to scale back what we were trying to do. But you know, that's okay to go a little bit nuts at the beginning. I saw it almost as like sophomore anxiety, maybe. You know, like, oh wow, we have to surpass Half-Life, and Half-Life was important, you know, and so it was like this like unbounded ambition.
And we kept asking ourselves, and Gabe kept asking, well, how is this Half-Life? Where, you know, when you have a silent first-person narrator, you could tell people this is Gordon and throw that character into literally any environment and say, yeah, this is Half-Life. But unless the environment is telling you that that's the case, you're not, it's very arbitrary. So we wrestled with that a long time. Slowly, the sort of grab bag of characters we started to feel like there was connections between them. And then at some point we realized, oh, we could make this out of the science team, the survivors from Black Mesa. And suddenly, that for me was the idea of it's a science team. That suddenly, you could put those guys anywhere, and because they have like a familial,
it's so nice to see you,
and they recognize Gordon, that will make you feel like it's a continuation of the story. Like obviously Alex was totally new to that universe, but she had a father who was
I guess that's the biggest thing, is like that first scene of Barney going, Gordon, nice to see ya. That's like the whole,
extended their relationship.
That's what really gets you into it.
World that you were in. That was kind of the click, was the science team, and that was a while till we got there.
You know, much like the first one, where all the contributors were really collectively deciding on the direction, is we were really making a push to grow the team and hire new artists. You know, Zabi Ng was an influential early contributor. I think, you know, he and I were doing character designs for Gordon and for Alex and for some of the antagonist Combine characters.
At the time, I was looking at a lot of, I mean, really the helmets, which I think are kind of one of their defining features, was based off some gas masks from Europe that I had seen in some reference. I remember doing early concepts of the new HEV suit, like what's Gordon gonna be now? And I had kind of just started, and so I was like, I'm gonna make this my own. It looked, I guess, kind of like the still suits in Dune, but black and a lot more belt buckles and latex. And Gabe was just kind of like, what's this? Like, it's Gordon. I was like really proud and excited. It's like, why is it not orange? You know, it's like, there's something to that effect of essentially like, why are you giving up this iconic part of the character?
People love it.
Yeah, people love that. So what are you doing? And it's like, you know, I was like, yeah, I guess he's right. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and ended up with what shipped.
And we had like, I don't know, so many.
I do like how you never really see it. You never see his face in the games.
You know, not because
it's always just on the covers of the different games.
We had better things to pursue, you know, more like there were the Sactics, the Cremator, the Crab Synth, the Stalkers
like
as an enemy.
We had a little bit in the game.
Yeah,
right?
we shipped the Stalkers, but not as an adversary that you fought.
Yeah, there was definitely an evolution of how biological versus how synthetic a lot of the creatures in Half-Life 2 were, and I was always hoping to get to a space where it was ambiguous. You know, where you couldn't quite tell if this was created or if it had grown or if it was natural or synthetic.
There was some synths I did that never shipped. Actually, we did ship them. They were at the end of the game when you're going through the Citadel. I had designed these synths that no animator could figure out how to actually move because they weren't built to move.
And much like some of the environments that we've seen, you know, released in the leak that were very dark, some of the early Half-Life stuff was also very dark. But at the time, video games were very dark.
In the interim, before we hired Fletcher, and before Victor was there, because it was the old environments, right? I don't remember how it came about that they built this level, but the idea was there was some looting going on. And the idea was you're
Half-Life 2 in the Half-Life 1 format.
You hear a voice saying,
TV! Free TV!
Oh, that's so Half-Life 1.
TV store, and there's the citizens and the cops are
That's
fighting.
So Half-Life 1.
You see a citizen run past you holding a TV set, and he goes, get one, get a TV, get yourself a TV. And then he runs off down the thing, and you go in another courtyard, and there's a cop with a nightstick and a citizen, and they're like having a fist fight. And it's interesting because the NPCs are negotiating their bounding boxes, and there's some animation like how difficult it is to contact.
We captured everything. took pictures of whiteboard design sessions. There were really crude drawings and ideas. Some of the stuff from the very beginning made it all the way to the end. You know, Ravenholm, antlions, dog, Kleiner's pet head crab, and you know, those things were just so fun in the moment that how could they not survive, right? The other thing that was really memorable is I remember we started making the world really dystopian, really dark at the beginning, and some of the concept art shows that. We didn't think players would enjoy spending 20 to 40 hours in such a dark and a kind of
I like the vibe City 17 has.
setting, so
It's so like you feel dystopia and just like crusty sidewalks and shit.
Security state.
Yeah,
I was
what he
trying
said.
to like get all these cool ideas that the team had already when I arrived.
Totally dark,
streamline them. You know, instantly I think we were friends with Mark Laidlaw. We had a common sort of
Or like you can
vision
tell
and fantasy
the city's run like it's supposed to be a utopia.
all-world-like
Some shit.
city. And then slowly, you know, I brought context behind that. The idea that we can place this in an anonymous Central Eastern European city, which is a perfect setting because, you know, in these countries there were so many waves of invasions. You know, we had the Ottoman Empire, we had the Russians, and now why not the aliens?
And one of the first maps I remember working on was called Test Room Standards. On Half-Life, every level designer kind of had their own idea of how big stairs were or how big steps were going to be or how big a button was. Make sure we had some consistency.
Wow.
Another thing that was sort of important was just getting more people to go on field trips and going to do research. Because I think a lot of the level designers on Half-Life 1, you know, just were building very abstractly. And so we wanted to have some more grounding in reality and have more realistic proportions. And also just get textures were going from hand painted to more photographic. And so we would go out and collect a lot of the pictures for those textures to start building for our new library.
I joined Half-Life 2 probably a year after it had started. I know that it was at least a year because I was put on Borealis, which was like everybody else had disowned. But then I came along and said, oh, well, I guess this is now your problem. So I started on Borealis, and of course I failed at that too. That eventually got cut.
Yeah, so I came in having had experience doing game AI. I was at Looking Glass Studios. Probably the biggest thing I did there was lead programmer on Thief, the Dark Project, did the AI for that too. And actually my first thing is they handed Borealis to me.
Damn.
To do the...
After I'd finished?
They should have destroyed that ship.
The AI for the guy that you're supposed to walk through the Borealis ship with.
There was a bunch of work put into it. We even went on an icebreaker ship to get reference. As soon as we started to put it together, we realized how unbelievably tight the space was, and you could never make any kind of really interesting combat in it, and so it just withered on the vine right there. I mean, when I started, there was that document that was the tech wish list. Yes. It was just this very bare bones bullet list of tech features. And I mean, I think it was like 6 years of work to build that tech list and then realize it into a product and leverage all the implications of it, you know?
So this
I'm
was
so sorry. I gulped and I saw that it just went on the mic.
Very, very realistic and intuitive. Because of the source engine and the collaboration between artists and engineers. Ken Birdwell, and he was a fan about photography and
thank goodness you didn't hear it.
Right.
The math that we were using was wrong. And not only that, the math that everybody was using was wrong.
Wait, for what? For lights?
Correct it, and I realized just how bad it was, and then I fixed it, and suddenly everything looked great. I had to go tell the hardware guys, the people who made hardware accelerators, that fundamentally the math was wrong on their cards. That took about 2.5 years.
Yikes.
I could not convince the guys. Finally, we hired Gary McTaggart and Charlie Brown, and those guys had enough pull and enough. I have a fine arts major. Nobody's going to listen to me.
Charlie and I met at college at the University of Florida. We were both getting computer science degrees. Yes. I ended up dropping out to go work at 3DFX as employee 11 there, and then I think, Charlie, you actually graduated, didn't you?
I graduated and then followed you, and I was 17 there.
Yeah.
I was 17 there.
There were three kind of principles. One was to make something that
was immersive, visually really rich and appealing, something more like you would see in a film, and the art direction and the technology to make that happen. Second one was to have characters that you cared about. So basically,
he looks so much younger in these.
React, emote.
Barney looks so young.
Mattered in the world instead of just being signposts. Third,
2007
was to have,
aged him.
a responsive environment with physics that mattered.
I think that I, maybe more than other people, realized just how big of a task we were setting for ourselves. So I was a little bit daunted by that.
We felt the pressure from Gabe actually to double down and make something even grander than Half-Life 1. Therein lies the sort of little bit of the trap of Half-Life 2's development story, which went from being a pretty quick, let's figure out how to do this, to like a 6-year, slog.
Yeah, and it was 6-7 days a week, 10 to 14
I'm
hours
glad
a
they
day.
nailed it though.
Yeah, we're gonna cut your feature. Sorry, it's just not worth it.
So I ended up being really the point person working with the FBI.
It would have been 10 years after Half-Life 1 instead of 20.
And it just felt like someone had just punched me in the
Oh,
gut.
I see why Barney looks so young.
Can we still
That's
keep
interesting,
working on
yeah.
the game? Is someone just going to release the whole game tomorrow?
I definitely was not shielded from that.
I remember one conversation with Gabe, which is he was like, so how fucked are we? Yeah, we're kind of screwed.
The company was pretty close to going bankrupt. I was pretty close to going personally bankrupt. It's like there was no money left.
I can't think of another case when that happened. Yeah, a real bullshit move.
Are we allowed to cry in this documentary? That's what I want to know.
I like this area a lot.
Remember, we shipped Half-Life 1, and the world loved it, and we're just super happy. Yeah, we did this thing, and we had a big meeting, and Gabe looks at me and goes so all the animations are terrible. How are you
beat
gonna
up
make
too? I
Half-Life 2
did.
better?
In Half-Life 1, we made what were at the time significant improvements, but still they were fairly
We're watching the documentary
robotic
now.
and mechanical, and so we had to go and do a huge amount of work on the animation system and on the facial animation system and coming up with authoring tools that allowed you.
Do you think they'll do a Half-Life Alyx 10-year anniversary documentary?
A lot of this was level design, like figuring out how to build atmosphere. We knew that we wanted to start you off seeing the Citadel right away. And we wanted to introduce you to the
I want the
city
Combine to drink my brain too. It will.
voice acting from Robert Culp. We wanted to finally do real characters. We knew that from Half-Life 1, the way that players would respond to having any
Grab a
character
soda.
talk to them
It'll
was,
help
way
you see
beyond
faster.
The reaction that we expected. When we figured this out in playtesting, if Barney would follow you around and shoot things, suddenly you just love this guy, and you love the scientists, and you love these characters. So we knew we wanted to just bring that way up to the next levels beyond what we could imagine.
That's crazy how the crowbar looked that bad. God damn.
A character who could act realistically, that would help the player make an emotional connection to the other characters in the game. And at the time we decided we were going to do that, not only did none of the technology work, but I would go talk to industry professionals and they would tell me not to bother because you couldn't do it. Luckily found a research work done in the 70s by Dr. Paul Ekman. And he had just broken down how the face works and how humans make expressions. And he had this incredibly wonderful, formal, clinical description.
Sadly, in speedruns, the first security guard gets bonked every time.
That normal people do with their face.
That's sad.
I tried this experiment with putting a grid on Scott Lynch's face.
Are they going to talk about
shooting
source
him from the
faces?
front and the side so that we could get points from the
Source faces are crazy, bro. All those SFMs where they're like
shots of his texture, and we found a good way to model a reasonable head, of his geometry,
they're just talking about him.
and then project the texture onto it, and then abstract it or stylize it enough so that it didn't look totally photographic.
IRL
but
Barney.
It looked like a kind of a real person.
Occasionally, when somebody hears the history, it will, generate a light bulb. But no, I don't get accosted.
No one's asking you for beers or anything?
No, or buying me beers.
We added Ken's eye tech to that, which was amazing because he really modeled and he went deep into the research of how eyes work.
Eyeballs was about 9 months, just on eyeballs. But you have to do each step. You have to get the shape of the eye right. You have to get how the eyelid gets pushed by the cornea and the
that's
ball of the
wild.
eye. So as your eyes move around, all your lower lid, your upper lid, all of those get shifted slightly, and it's all automatic. It was wonderful. The day I got it working, the characters went from looking like interesting dolls to Alex just looked at me. Oh my God, this is working.
They would ask for surprise.
That is the problem with, I've only played like Half-Life games, so I can't feel how they're different from other games. I can only feel how they're like cool because they're Half-Life. Like I can't compare Half-Life 1 to Quake and say like, oh my God, Half-Life 1 was so much cooler. Because they talk about that in the documentary. It's like, oh, well, Quake did this, but we could do this, this, and this. I don't have that like comparison. So if I go back and play other games, they're just going to feel slightly worse, and it's not going to make me think much more. Well, it's going to make me think more of Half-Life, but it's not going to do much in the moment. It wouldn't be as satisfying as playing all the other games than Half-Life and being like, wow, this changed everything.
Like they wanted really fine control over looking at named objects in the 3D world, no matter what direction the actor is facing. So you had to figure out things about, oh, maybe the upper body needs to turn and the head needs to turn and the eyes need to turn.
So we're in the elevator coming back from Starbucks to get morning coffee, and we saw this face, and it's like, that's him. That's the scientist. And he was an accountant in the firm below.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, nothing kind of blows your mind when you've been working all day on.
Shane is OG Wolfenstein, OG Doom, OG Quake, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2. You just mean chain of like games that changed the shit, like compared to one another. Games that feel revolutionary when you go up the ladder. And on top of that, have we not evolved since Half-Life 2? It's a tower held together by duct tape, by the way. Yeah. Oh no, the engines were built on each other. Yeah, right. Wow. That's wild. Well, and then when you think about how much shit is like inspired, or how much shit originated as a Half-Life 1 or a Half-Life 2 mod. Some shit eventually gets rebuilt, but like, yeah. Like Team Fortress has roots in that. Half-Life Alyx light flickering pattern is the same from Half-Life 1. We'll see. I don't think I remember light flickering pattern. Oh wait, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Game, and all of a sudden you get on the elevator and you're like, holy crap, it's him. It's him.
Right. I once ran into him at the airport.
So we cast people that were real change vendors in front of supermarkets.
That's awesome.
We cast waiters.
It is so cool.
When I was in junior high school, I took karate classes, and that was my old karate instructor.
Randy Lundeen said, hey, there is a guy holding a sign for work at this exit on 520 every day who has this great face, and he took a picture of his face, and he stopped and asked if he could. And so it's like, wow, this is great. I think this guy's Eli.
That's amazing how they don't do all this casting to find the perfect guy or try to put Brie Larson in the game. They just like find people. It's the same thing with the Valve loading screen guy.
The East European contingent and stuff too, so it was pretty interesting.
We wanted anybody to feel a part of the world when they're playing as a player. And so,
oh, you can just hear it. I was hoping I would go down here so you couldn't hear it. God damn it.
Pretty much every skin color, different ages, male and female, equal numbers of males and females. Sadly for them, they all had to share the same voice actor.
Sadly for us, too.
We dropped a crate of rockets coming across the plaza. We hoped for one more fighter to help storm that barricade. We never dreamed it would be you.
I mean, Kleiner's Lab was the first prototype that we did of how characters could work together in a scene.
Yeah, it was like a proof of concept. Yeah. We kind of had to make that work, and put everything we could.
Well, they did it a couple times in Half-Life 1.
Technology, and then know from there what can we do, what else
on a different level.
Turning it into a performance that would be engaging rather than just audio radio play kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, that was the point
I guess,
of
yeah,
that,
that's
that
the
scene was
difference.
where it all started to come together, all our theories and hopes for what the experience might be.
And it all went completely smoothly. It was out of the box. It was amazing.
The most difficult technical aspects are really kind of boring. They're okay, the character is running through AI and now they need to jump in and do, hug another character. Now they need to pick up something from the desk, and that thing on the desk can move, and where the character is can move, and where the player is can move, and everything about this whole scene can move dynamically. And to get to that stage where it just looks right is this huge technical challenge and artistic challenge. But once it's done, it's just amazing.
Gordon, snap out of it.
What is this?
Staring at me again.
Warming up nicely.
Are you sure you don't want me to swap out the polarizer?
It's wild.
I remember when we got Fletcher on, and he would kind of teach us about how they did things at Disney, and they would bring in acting coaches for the animators. What does sarcasm look like? Certain expressions, and there's a timing to those expressions. And
when you have a scene with multiple characters, it's not always the person talking that's doing the acting, right? Everybody's acting. Even though you may be looking at Kleiner because he's the one talking.
I finally got the joke about Lamar being named after actress and inventor Hedy Lamar after 20 years. Alex on the E3 demo was very generic, trying to appeal to teenagers. Yeah, I could see that. It's just wild that Valve used to be a game studio with real shit going on. I mean, they still do some things now, and I don't know how breathtaking Half-Life Alyx is as a game, but I mean, even that was 5 years ago at this point. That's just crazy.
Every character in that scene around you, behind you, they're all doing stuff because not everybody's going to be looking at the same place.
Yeah, Half-Life Alyx is still the best VR game. I'll play it. My PC could run it, I think. It would run it well.
Heads over.
Because I can't do it if it's not 120 FPS.
It tells you so much
that's
about the
true. 90.
relationship without having to say, "Hi, Dad, I love you," and all this extra heavy-handed stuff. So.
Jake was a random demo reel that was sent in.
I don't want to play Bone Lab or Boneworks.
Jake was incredible.
Jake was incredible. Miss that guy.
One of a kind.
Yeah, miss that guy. Amazing technical animator.
Yeah, I mean, Jake was one of those guys that, whatever needed to be done, he would figure it out and just make it happen,
It'll just get done correctly.
I think also the context of when all this was taking place,
Ooh, cool gun.
Problems that he was helping
Weird
solve
ammo. That's crazy.
That weren't being done. Even something as simple as passing someone an object between two characters sounds super simple, but actually really complex, especially back then.
Yeah.
And so he really helped push how do we even do this in collaboration with the programmers.
Zabi wanted to do a goo thing, so I worked on the shaders for that.
He just wanted to do a goo thing. He was on some goo shit the whole time.
Other scenes, did the refraction shaders and the code,
I noticed that.
The supporting code for that. The shaders didn't really have conditionals or loops or anything like that, so we would unroll it all and compile a bazillion shaders. It got to the point where it was so many shaders and it took so long to compile that we, I think Mike DeSalt implemented distributed building system. Everyone's machine in the company was running something that could sit there and compile shaders all the time or do lighting for the levels or whatever.
It's all any opportunity to kind of add to the visual storytelling, I think was...
Yeah, and I think we hid the first G-Man sighting there.
He was one, that's right,
Where?
He was one of the monitor.
Yeah.
It would flip to him,
Yeah, and then he'd just walk out of frame.
The moment where you see him makes you realize there must be a lot of moments where you didn't know he was watching you. He's not Big Brother. That doesn't make sense to me that he would be a Big Brother because that's sort of industrial and bureaucratic. And this is much
I'd only
more
noticed
intimate.
him once in Half-Life 1.
Over your shoulder, watching, waiting for the moment to
Oh my God.
speak.
Oh.
That's where I think he lives. My name is Mike Shapiro, and I am G-Man.
Dude, the thing he tweeted is still so sus. I'm just gonna put it up. I'm not gonna break from the video many times. But that was wild.
Good to see. Another year already. Good to see and hear from so many of you. May the next quarter century deliver as many unexpected surprises as did the millenniums first. And again, time is fluid, like music. See you in the new year.
197 is not a real thing. I thought it was funny to see how many people coping, because this is, I think this is just his like his album cover or some shit. I think this is crazy though. And he only tweets Half-Life shit. I don't know. Listen, gotta understand, I'm new to this. I know I know Half-Life 3 cope is like what he says is teasing. Exactly. I don't know. Maybe he's just using it to promote his music or whatever.
So, Barney, and you know, Barney's not, he's not that far from, you know, G. Gordon, like he's not that far from where I live. You know, he's so fallible and you know, he's always tripping over himself, and that, he's just such a good guy, you know? Not necessarily the most capable, but just really there for you.
Get that thing away from me. Yeah, my pet. Hop up.
I think early on I had a sense that G-Man
Wow,
knew a lot
he looks
and
so
was
different in
taking
one.
care of a lot that we didn't quite understand, was kind of enjoying fucking with people and massaging reality in a way that he had a unique capacity to do. There were also
I love a
aspects to
voice
him
actor
I
that
knew
gives a
pretty
fuck
early
about what they're
on,
saying.
like his relationship to time is very different than you or I would think. In my mind, he could literally be in two places at once, and so sometimes there was a kind of an implied hitch.
Valve needs
in his
him, by the way.
timing, or he's experiencing 2 or 3 different moments at once, and that might be funny for a reason that you don't know because you're only in one
Usually
time
the-
with
yeah,
him
exactly.
at a moment.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
I think as we realized how well she worked,
I
coming
mean,
out of
I got chills and shit when he was doing his thing earlier.
Started looking for more
He was a
and more
goat.
ways to include her in stuff.
And of course, she really came to life when we found Merle Dandridge.
Yeah. We could feel her already as a partner in creating this character, I think, coming out of that. She's just got a
I hate that
creative
picture. I've
relationship
already
with the
seen it too
character.
much.
She's going to bring a lot to it.
I feel like she was really able to bring a warmth and humor into her deliveries too that other people, it was more like Soldier in a game a little bit. I mean, she did this great job of bringing like a character warmth into it.
And now we're sitting ducks unless we can get this thing running. Come on, Dr. Kleiner, is it gonna work or not?
No, there's nothing to be nervous about. Let's see. The massless field flux should self-limit, and I've clamped them.
My name is Harry Robbins. I'm known
love
as
him.
Hal Robbins. I have a
That CGI portrait has been softened to death to make it look like real skin. It doesn't. Yeah, I see it on the trading card in my library. Every time I click this fucking game, it's like, where is it? Oh my god. Oh, I hate this picture. I just see her fucking peeking and she's like, I'm tired of it. And kind of this one. But yeah, man. Damn, this game's sick. Oh, he's holding one there. Give me another. We control him. Gordon looks sexy in this.
Dr. Hal. My only doctorate is in theology from the Church of the Subgenius, which I'm involved in. Well, I think perhaps Mark was familiar with the things I do.
Golden ropes.
My voice would be good for it. I have a monthly Ask Dr. Hal show on Twitch and Zoom, and I'm also on a couple of radio shows. Well, I'm a graphic artist. I've worked for DC.
His voice is amazing, man.
Line. Well, I have some patrons who I do paint.
There's a story in the Half-Life 1 documentary where someone just gets him on a call. The whole team is listening, and he's like, well, what do you want me to say? And they're all like, yes, that's the guy.
I try to pronounce all the words. I make sure to aspirate to consonants. For example, I don't say didn't the way most people do, even newscasters today. I always make sure to say didn't. Perhaps it sounds archaic that way. Mark wrote archaic expressions into my dialogue, and I would say things like, oh, fie, and so forth.
No, not up there! No, no! Careful, Lamar. Those are quite fragile! Oh, fie. It'll be another week before I can coax her out of there. Yeah, longer if we're lucky.
Barney!
Man, shit, Valve's the goat.
It was always pleasant. I was always well treated. They were always patient. Even if I mispronounced something which was obvious, they would correct me and I would pay attention. And I always try to be as close as possible to a one-take wonder so they don't have to do it again. But that enabled them to do it many times. And so they had a lot of things which arose from that. And some of these are the things I'm asked to say by fans, which are inexplicable to people who don't know the game. Like, you want this guy to say, have you seen my coffee cup? And why do we all have to wear these ridiculous ties?
And look, Gordon, ropes. If I bumped into him, I wonder if it exists. Hold on. Has someone done that? Because I know the TF2 actors have said so much shit. Can's eye view. Oh, wait, that's funny. Oh my god, look. Can. Broke up their crown. What was his name? Half-Life Hal. Oh shit, I forgot his name. Look. Gordon Ropes. Original voice actor. What do you want from me? Nah, I don't think it happens. Nah.
So in the same way that we thought it was important in Half-Life 1 that when you shot a wall, that we put decals on the wall to indicate that you shot it. We wanted to say, okay, what happens when you throw a grenade at a bunch of boxes, right? The world itself needed to be more reactive to everything you did.
We used some third-party.
I know that John Patrick said, "Take this med kit."
Wrote the wrapper on that integrated it.
And physics was even early in the project was pretty successful. Right? Once we got over the initial thing of like things falling over, and we started adding breakable objects, things you could script and hammer. We added vehicles, sound cues from all the objects, and the
vehicles.
AIs, you could drop things on them and crush them, things like that. All of those behaviors, once we got just a few of those things in, that was really fertile.
For everyone who worked on Half-Life 2, masses got broken down into a set of scales that I assume someone's already talked about. No? Okay.
Well, you say.
So yeah, all right. So the question is whether it's bigger than a bread box or smaller than a space station.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's.
When you went to debug something and the text says, "Oh, this thing weighs as much as a racehorse."
Yeah. You knew it was more than a bread box.
You're like, well,
but not as much as a space station.
I think so, but I don't know.
What the fuck are they talking about?
If it's closer to this or closer
They cannot take me out. I refuse. Yes, it was an F. They always try to take me out. Time and time again. Back to it. What the fuck? Wait. Hello? What? 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 Firstly, why is the chat up there? Secondly, why is my webcam down here? Thirdly, I'm never gonna get it back. Don't they understand? I'm never gonna get it back to where it was. Where's the sound? Oh, it resets sometimes. And the video is muted. Can you hear me? Your mic is live. Yeah, yeah.
Online, some list of masses and objects.
Should be good. I think it's good.
And he just brought that into the game so that when you looked at an object, it'd say like 100 bracket racehorse or something. And so over time, like you all just got that locked in, and because it was like a logarithmic scale, it went from things like bread box, paint can or something up to like space station.
Yeah, the moon.
The moon.
You're like, what?
So,
what do I do with this? At this point, it's just keyframe at that point.
Yeah, so there would be many like conversations where we'd say, so I don't know, do you think that's more like a racehorse or the space station?
I'm so sorry if you heard that gulp.
The very first physics puzzle that we put in the game, from a development calendar standpoint, was the washing machine puzzle, where you push the washing machine into the hopper and raise the ramp for the airboat to jump over. We developed that because we felt like we had this section of relentless pressure with the attack helicopter. Watching players play test, we felt like they needed relief from it. You see the very first training of it.
You're loud? I'm loud as I always been. No? Am I just loud compared to the video? Is it not how it's always been? I don't know, I can go down there. Wait, I do kind of see it though. Kind of right. But it's just a sweet, sweet fantasy, baby. I think it's normal. Fantasy. I like to be kind of loud. I like to put it, right here. I feel like it's better to be kind of loud than kind of quiet. Like it's better to be like, oh, I had to turn my volume down to like 20. Than like, oh, I turned my shit up to 100. I still can't fucking hear you. But I can turn it down a bit. But it's just a
on foot canals
sweet
with the
fantasy, baby.
That you have to put the cinder blocks on.
That's got to be too quiet.
Which was added to the game later, and it's sort of training of like, hey, you can interact with levers and balance and create paths for yourself. And then later the buoyancy puzzle, we added that one after the washing machine puzzle. And it was just kind of like, you can connect masses with invisible pulley systems and then build little machines that way.
I guess at first, right, the gravity gun was kind of this, we weren't even sure we were going to ship it.
How do you get a laser on it? Mine never had a laser.
And so it was like this beam, you could reach out and grab things and pull them toward you or reposition them, drop them, grab them.
No, mine never had that. I wish it did.
We talked about simplifying it and just making it to where it was just pushing on things and pulling on things.
This was in the leak?
And where could we go with that?
And the first draft of Ravenholm wasn't really about physics so deeply, right? We ended up reorganizing the game to put Ravenholm after.
I remember seeing this months before release at my friend's house. I would love that. Shit doesn't leak like it used to.
Dock of Ravenholm and then get out and go explore Ravenholm.
Ravenholm.
We wanted like a horror area, since in a lot of ways Half-Life was a horror game, and the horror was kind of leaching out of Half-Life 2. So we at least wanted one environment that was just scary. And then we had a design meeting where Doug Woods said, creature with a shotgun, and it was like, oh, yes.
The important thing to know is like we didn't sit down and design Ravenholm as like the tutorial for all those things. It kind of kept getting things over time. And then after we got more physics working, we had this idea that there would be traps for the zombies in there that were physics. And there were a bunch of them, and they didn't all make it into the final game. And then some of them did work though, and we had to build a system for cutting the zombies in half. Once
I wasn't crazy about the traps.
The propeller traps, and we had to make them the right height so you could crawl under them, or the zombies could crawl under them.
Yeah, shit like that. That's why I didn't do traps.
Top half can keep going, and it can get you under there. We tried that, and that was great. Someone had the idea of a saw blade, and Ravenholm already existed, and we ended up based on this behavior.
I never realized when the helicopter trap breaks, you can use the blade. I don't think I remember helicopter trap. Most powerful physics item in the game.
Happening in another level, built the saw blade and put it back in Ravenholm.
Ravenholm was probably some of the most fun I had working on Half-Life 2. The whole idea behind Ravenholm, and that we were going to starve you of ammo, sort of forced them in a position where they have to rely on physics and the context of the objects around them. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if the zombie it's going to take him 30 more seconds to get to me, but he's got a barrel right there. What if he could swat that at me? So that was definitely something that was just we have physics now. This would be a cool thing to do with it, and it'd be a thing that would make sense and a thing that would be scary and fun.
One of the things
Powerful
that John
sneezes.
was extremely strong at was little touches I think we called them puzzlets.
We did call them puzzlets.
They weren't puzzles, they were puzzlets.
Yeah, it's this little thing that takes you between 5 and 60 seconds to resolve, and at the end you either get something or you feel a certain way, and it was really a big part of making sure that minute-to-minute gameplay, as we called it, was interesting. Yeah, he was good at that.
The fact that the zombies slap objects at you is great. Yeah, they don't chuck them.
We actually did this as an exercise of okay, take all the elements in the game and have a grid of rows and columns of all those elements, and make sure that there's a meaningful thing at each intersection of those cells, so that everything has a meaningful interaction with everything else. And where we saw empty cells, we would actually design a thing.
Yeah, is there something we could do there?
Yeah, barnacles plus grenades, or whatever. Okay, we need to make sure that they'll eat the grenade and then blow up.
I was never good at anything like this in Half-Life.
Tools,
I even watched that one video that was Half-Life is about thinking like a theoretical physicist, and I still just couldn't do it.
Put something together, try out an idea. See
I just like running around and swinging shit.
Right? A lot of
this is the one that breaks.
See what we can do with this, and the entities put something.
And you're saying
together,
you can pick it
try out
up.
an idea. All the people on the team, if you can't write code, to
with the gravity gun and use it
together, try out an idea. See what we can do with this, and the entity system's no different, right? A lot of things the level designers just want to I have this idea for something that could happen. Is that fun?
Look to your own salvation.
Very sharp and wide. How far do they let you carry it? Are you here with it?
Yeah, I was on TF2 at that time.
I'll put it in quotes.
And
I'll put it in quotes.
Exactly.
It's a game.
During 2000, maybe? Someone else has probably told you this and got the dates actually right. But at some point, we all jumped from TF2 over to Half-Life 2. I feel like that marks the sort of, in some ways, in retrospect, the end of pre-production really on Half-Life 2, and it becomes now let's build this thing and ship it.
Actually, the first thing I got told to work on was a jet ski, and I spent 3 weeks trying to figure out a jet ski in first person. I was like, okay, none of this is working. I don't see how do you do this without
first person
making people
vehicles
sick?
is a challenge.
So I remember one weekend out of frustration, I just made the airboat. I don't know, maybe it's the Florida bit in me.
So Charlie Brown had worked on the
does that make a
airboat,
difference?
and then we picked it up.
How is that any different from the jet ski?
We started working on the canals, and we had
Just
this
the fact that
idea
it can go
was
on
gonna
land.
be kind of a lot of tricks under pressure, where you're doing skateboarding type moves. I think it was Kelly Bailey who basically said, I'm playing the canals and I'm trying to do these tricks and I'm failing. and then I'm getting shot. And he's like, I want to be like Smokey and the Bandit. I just want to be smashing my way out.
Airboat is just more stable. I just don't see how like
to really down the.
I don't see how this is like functionally any different from a jet ski. I don't see how you could be struggling to develop a jet ski and then say, I'm gonna make it an airboat instead, and like functionally change nothing about how it drives. Maybe just the model or whatever for the airboat just made him go crazy on like the perspective and whatnot, just because it was a cooler vehicle. I just don't see how there's any difference here in terms of like, I don't know,
the consequences for failing the tricks, and we dialed up the feeling of, you know, power.
I guess it's a little wider.
Absolutely.
This still makes no difference to me.
Really
oh well, I don't see like a developer.
Airboats. They wanted to get out and look under every rock, behind every tree. For those players, we had to craft enough density through the lengths of the canals to keep them entertained and happy. And then there were people who just wanted to smash through everything and treat it like a racing sim.
Yep.
And so the game had to be fun and interesting for them, and sometimes that would clash.
If you stop here, we're going to give you a reward, basically, either a narrative reward or like an actual like in-game like reward. The lambda caches, the lambda signs, we use them a lot more in the canals, and part of that is literally because we did it afterwards. Like, I mean, I'd worked on coast maps, and we didn't have that yet.
You know, the canals are restrictive because we want you to drive this airboat through them, and we've got all these fun things to do. Like, you could jump over things, you could smash through things. The worst case scenario is you're trapped with people who have guns and they're shooting at you, and you don't necessarily have a way of shooting back.
Oof.
So you know, that led to, well, we need to add a weapon to the vehicles.
Well, part of it was the helicopter was such a persistent pain in your ass that we really wanted to put a bow on that whole experience and give you some vindication, some, you know, vengeance, where you get to now hunt the helicopter. So as soon as we attach it, one thing we really intentionally did is you start to drive down the tunnel and the helicopter pops down in your face and it's blocking you, and you have no choice but to just shoot it if you want it to go away, and then you see it flee. And so it's okay, the players could connect the dots, right? Now it's my turn. So the next sequence is all about chasing the helicopter down to that final battle at the dam. I remember we worked pretty intentionally to make it the ultimate showdown between you and the helicopter.
Ultimate destiny.
Some of it was by accident. I remember Brian Jacobson, who did a lot of the code for that. At one point, it accidentally did this thing where it just spit out a ton of bombs. And we're like, that is awesome. Keep
that was an accident?
Make that part of the fight. You know, we tried to make it as action intensive as we could within reason. Right?
I love that shit.
That battle was actually, in a way, we designed it to be a final exam. We unraveled those elements into the levels beforehand, right? You learned how to dodge bombs, you learned how to shoot at it, and you learned how to shoot while driving. And then we throw those things together at you with a little bit of a twist.
Canals was sort of like a crucible because a lot of good things came out of it because it was such a difficult design problem. The easy thing to do is to make a punishing design where you just say, you can't go here and we're going to shoot you and force you to fail and fail and fail until you get to see the next part of the game. It's much harder to create something where the player feels there's an evolution, they have some power and some agency, so their skill is being rewarded and they can be creative in that restrictive environment.
The buggy.
So basically had a whole car engine down to through transmission, down into gearing and differentials and turning the tires. But then it turned out like, oh, we can really only go 15, 20 miles an hour. Otherwise you would blast through the extents of the map in about 10 seconds, which wasn't gonna do anybody any good. People made jumps.
Another interesting video is the devs commentating on a world record speedrun of Half-Life 2. I've seen that in my recommended before I even started playing the games again. Like before, like, I guess this was all January, but like even in like December, I was seeing that. That's probably what like unintentionally got me back into it is like placed it into my subconscious. It's like Half-Life. Devs react to a 52-minute speedrun of Half-Life 2. Google gets creepier by the day. It's more like, I think Google knew that like I played it at one point, because I technically did literally stream it on my YouTube channel. Like, so I can't be like, Google spied on me. Like I gave them that. I put Half-Life in like my interests. And then I think, yeah, I just kept that for a couple of years. And unless the video was recent, then it might just be that. But
to all these things, nothing was working.
I think that's what put me back on, though.
You must be doing a jump. I'm just going to turn off gravity on the car for a little while and let it just go, and then gradually ramp it back in so that it actually felt like you were jumping.
It was interesting how like the dynamics of the buggy was so much about like the perceived experience versus how it actually like performed.
It just sounds like it's going faster than it is. So Jay and I worked really hard on these engine sounds and this fake transmission and doing all this stuff. But you're really going like 30 miles an hour maybe. So it's like someone just driving around in first gear.
Got pulled into Coast, one, because I was interested in working on more game stuff, but two, it was the biggest, I guess, group of people utilizing the displacement tech, since it was more of a terrainy thing and outdoors. And we were trying to figure out how we wanted to use the displacements, meaning we knew we wanted the things to look more natural. There was a lot more geometry in those maps than our previous ones, given just displacements in general. We were always struggling with performance and trying to figure out how to make things a little bit faster or easier, or where we could make things do what we wanted them to do, but not necessarily cost as much as they cost.
It's much faster than walking speed. So you just signed up for building a huge amount of game. People can just stop and get out anywhere. So now you have this trade-off of density versus distance.
We got a vehicle we want to drive for a while, so make those levels long. But from Half-Life 1, we still had the philosophy of there should be something cool around every corner. Not like a monster popping out of you, but different reasons to be engaged in the world. So they would dot the coastline with little towns, and you knew if you went exploring, you'd always get some kind of reward for that. It might be a health pack and ammo, or it might be a character interaction. So that would let the player set their own pace and feel like they get to
I could never do some shit like that.
They're always rewarded for that. But if they wanted to drive straight through, they could.
I worked on like the area where there's the roller mine.
This type of realistic terrain was a step up. I remember having so few brushes and building things manually by adding and subtracting basic 3D shapes. Welcome back. Yeah, only like terrain and shit I ever played with was in Roblox Studio.
Mines first come in and
that was your basic, just
going
terrain
along
brush.
A curving path, and then there's like they blow up all the rocks and drop stuff in front of your path to try and slow you down, and then you've got like a little house fight. There were cases early on where people would just try to drive past everything and be like, why would I stop at this if I've got a car? And so we really wanted them to like be fairly unavoidable, and so you'd have to get
Displacements
out and deal
are
with taking
so
off your car
cheap
and
to
then,
render.
Be in the space. So it's really fun just, jumping in there with the Combine soldiers and crafting little fight scenarios. What makes AI fights
I've reached a part of this popcorn
the smartest or the best.
Where most of it is kind of burned. Not that that's a normal thing for popcorn, but the specific way I made it, this shit sucks.
Anything like it's easy to make AI
turning brushes into triangles so you can
and kill them.
transform into terrain is so wasteful for resources. It was the only way.
So like in that fight in particular, you go up inside of a building and you get to the second floor and you're fighting guys in there and they kind of pull you up there. There's guys up in there and as you go up and fight them, that happens. But then more guys spawn outside. Like there's a bunch of windows up in that top section and there's a crate sort of near the window, and when you go over to get that crate, they start shooting through the window at you. And it's not that the AI actually knows that you're there and starts shooting at the window the moment they see you. There's actually, we have these things called bullseyes that you could place in.
Joining multiple cuboid subtractive brushes. And then a hey.
Spots, and they basically would act like a target that the AI wanted to shoot. A lot of that isn't actually the AI being, doing this carefully crafted thing. It's more of us thinking like, what makes this like a neat presentation for the player and gives them that sense that they need to hunker down. Like later on in the same coastline, There's a sequence where you're fighting a gunship and you're in the lighthouse. And as you go up the lighthouse, it's like sort of predicting where you are and shooting through the windows right in front of you and giving you that same sort of show. And that's all like bullseyes and things. Almost every game you play, you're developing a sense of mastery, and that actual sense of progress and mastery is the fun. Piecing it all together is like very core to what makes it fun.
Hello, Dr. Freeman. The car's all ready for you. Hop in and I'll lower you down to the beach.
Ugh, and then she drops you like a
Player-drivable
freak.
crane first, I think, right? And
Yes.
then we went
Wait,
back.
did they
and used it.
misinterpret an Australian saying crane as cream?
Player-drivable crane first.
I don't know if he's Australian.
We did the player-drivable crane first.
Dude, he just says crane. And the video editor, well, no, I guess the video editor would come first and be like, yeah, he's talking about the crane.
Down to the beach.
In 480p divided into 4. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. He's drunk. Yeah, the captioner, bro.
Player-drivable crane first, I think, right? And
Yes.
then we went back and used it again, you know, at the
Like
start.
perfect
as
tutorial.
But yeah.
Like it's perfect training. This is how that thing works.
Yeah.
Don't forget. 'cause
Captioner
something happened
messed up.
later. You
Exactly,
have to-
yeah.
We did actually get
Player-drivable
very
crane.
close to the base of a crane.
Very close words.
You know, obviously, you want to be in the crane, you want to be driving it, all these things. But yeah, we did get up very close to this crane again. I think it was.
I can't hear the word crane.
Just wanting to take some pictures for a video game. Could you just let us in? Try to act as like nice and non-threatening as possible.
We need the buggy to get into a state where it was flipped, so you could have to learn to recover it and all that sort of stuff. So
Ugh,
it's like,
it made me
we
so
flip it over,
mad.
and then you have to proceed. You have to use the gravity gun. We're just trying to wrap that in some sort of narrative instead of just spitting some text that tells you if this happens, you know.
That was, you know, I mean, the crane was a hard physics problem because, like, one of the worst case scenarios for physics is really, you know, high mass objects moving around because they're going to apply an enormous amount of force to anything
Oh, it
they
was
touch.
so sick though. I
And
swung it
we have a
around like
rigid body
several
physics system. So in the
several
real world,
laps.
when
It was
giant, heavy
amazing.
mass touches something. Usually it
I
crushes
loved
them.
it.
We can't really
Loved the
crush
second
anything.
crane fight. Yeah.
So already we're in like a tricky place.
Oh, this was so
And the good news
sick.
was we had a fixed space it could operate in, right? You can't.
It just felt
control
amazing.
how far you
It
can extend
just
the
felt
thing.
like a
And so as
cutscene, but I was
level designers,
controlling
we
it.
have to, like, these are the only things that the crane will ever really be able to interact with, and so we could be pretty careful around what are the things that that this magnet's going to touch, and let's make sure that at least the physics works pretty well for that.
Right.
So I worked on the bridge as one
Ugh,
of
the
the
bridge.
really early things I worked on there, which was great. Sawyer had already built the bridge. It's actually based on Deception Pass. So Deception Pass is nearby here in Washington. Coincidentally, I actually proposed to my wife there, but anyway, it's this really nice
Coincidentally,
bridge that, like, if you go
one of
there,
those
you'll be like,
definitely
oh, yeah,
affected
this
the
is
other. Whichever
Alpha
came
Q
first,
bridge. The fight
1000%
against the gunship and everything wasn't
affected the
really
other.
all put together. It was definitely.
He's
had
trying to
that,
bring it up like they were unrelated.
Scary, you know.
It's like, yeah, I did develop
fear
that
of
bridge
heights
off the
scenario
place I
going under the
proposed
bridge.
my wife.
We hadn't fully fleshed it all
Yeah, I
out
did
yet.
propose to my
One of
wife
the
at the
first things I
Half-Life
did
bridge.
was, like, what if this was a
You
train
can't get
bridge?
soft locked mostly. And there's so many infinite ammo crates. Oh, wait. Well, here's the thing. I felt when I beat the game the first time that it's more of a movie that you're starring in an FPS. A movie that you're starring in. It's more of a movie you're starring in. Maybe you mean than an FPS? You can't get soft lock mostly, and there's so many infinite ammo crates. Yeah.
Had to do this, you know, play chicken against the train, and getting the timing quite right was took a little bit of work. But hearing the like train horn come in.
Oh, I love
and
this part,
the moment of
actually.
realization that players would have of like probably some people die. A lot of people probably die the first time there. But
No,
you're
I
just
never
like,
died.
Do I go faster or do I turn around? Like what do I do? I don't know. It was a fun moment to create.
I love
All credit
that.
to Sawyer on coming up with the going underneath the bridge scenario. People to this day still are like that freaked them the hell out. Like a lot of people it's sort of seared in their memory, which is just, you know, it's what we want to do.
No, I never got like vertigo or anything.
Trying to like capture the sense of height
Maybe
and playing with the ambient sounds to get the
It was
you know,
one
just to
part.
capture the sense
No.
of being precarious and
Shit, I don't
high
know where
above
it
the
was.
ground
I think it's
was,
in like
it was just
Blue
a fun
Shift.
little design challenge.
David came up with that, and we play tested it. And the first time we play tested, I think the person who was play testing, their knuckles were white, and it was really tense. And
What?
Then someone had the brilliant idea of like, oh, they finally made it. They felt great. Now we're gonna make them go back. Oh, and the gunship, yeah, that came in, yeah. So that was always fun.
I get anxiety-based vertigo. It worked on me. I don't know. I must have grown up in
There's this thing we call
Roblox
edge
natural
friction.
disaster.
So when you're moving, you have a friction that just reduces your normal movement rate by an amount. But what we would do is whenever players would get close to edges, we would increase that friction a lot so that people wouldn't accidentally fall off things. It's just not fun for the player.
Love that.
So there was definitely a bit of friction play involved there.
Friction play, we call it at Valve. We call it friction play.
Gordon Freeman! Hurry, get in the basement. We're expecting gunships at any moment.
He became iconic for reasons I don't totally understand, except the performance. We were calling that town New Little Odessa or Little Old New Odessa. And then I got spam email from Odessa Cubbage or something like that. It was definitely a name that came out of an email spam. And I'm like, this name is amazing. So it went straight into the game. And then John Lowry came in and acted him with his fake British accent.
Damn. Let me just send a warning to Lighthouse Point.
That guy pissed me off. I don't remember why.
So Odessa Cubbage had this
guy just pissed me off.
Like training the rocket launcher. That was a real pain. The laser guiding aspect was just a nightmare to train because training in combat's always a nightmare by itself because people are under duress. Trying not to die. They're focusing on some other thing. That's
we always want to do things the old way. It's like in my head when I'm first learning how to do this, I'm like, I could just throw a grenade and it would be better than this.
So you always know it's going to be hard if you're trying to teach something you're trying to teach in combat. We watch a playtester, they step out and they fire a rocket at the gunship and then they duck behind
Odessa
cover.
took
So
credit
the laser dot
from the
goes
gunship kill.
onto the fence in front of him. We all hear the rocket turn around and start coming back, and so you hear
It's
like,
basically, here we go, 5,
it's
4,
like it's louder,
3.
and then the player looks out again at the gunship, and the rocket goes, like looks around back at the gunship, and we're like, oh! And then he ducks back again, and we're like, oh my god! We hear the rocket getting louder and louder, and he peeks out again and whips off again.
An integrated part that I think has really always been important, something that Gabe introduced in Half-Life 1, was the way that we playtest and then iterate really rapidly on the playtest results. So you have dozens and dozens of people come through one section of the game, and you sit there painfully, silently, taking notes while they struggle and get frustrated.
I'd be so mad
totally
if I knew I was being play tested. This just sucks. This just sucks. This is a bad way to do this. I would do this.
If your title is game designer and your design sucks, then it can be threatening, right? Like maybe I'm bad at my job and I should get fired, right? And so a lot of the games industry never did any testing at all with this playtesting process. That's what basically taught me design in a lot of ways. We would just
I'm not centered at my desk whatsoever.
Like, okay, let's put it in front of somebody and watch it happen. And then we'd very quickly start realizing that our mental model of like how people are reacting to this stuff is wildly different than what we expected.
I joined the team in January 2000. I had met Gabe when he was starting Valve.
Did you die in the fire there? Wait, let me see.
January 2000.
How people are reacting to this stuff is wildly different than what we expected.
I don't quite remember. I think I saw it. I almost want to check. I think I saw it and I was like, what the fuck? And then I saw the ramp. Fuck. In the sludge, was that gotta be too far? Oh no, I don't know. That was unavoidable. I think it was much earlier. It's before this. God damn. I remember the boat being long, but I'm like, holy shit. There? Ooh. 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 Stream delay is not going to make this great. I do have nearly 3K on YouTube. It's complicated. Wait. Before or after? almost don't have time for this. Wait. 58. I have like 10 minutes of wiggle room. After. Oh no. Where the clues are right here. After this part. Where do you open the gate? What? Close enough. Oh yeah, this took forever. Because I'm kind of bad at video games. It was. Why did they? Oh, let's see. Silencing me. What is? Okay, yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I knew it. I just kind of froze. I'm like, reconsider. What do you want from me? That's my classic. Yeah, and I say it. Why do they keep silencing me? What is that? Then I back up all the way. Oh, and then I see it. Yep. Yeah, I think that's what I thought. Yeah, what can I say? I got good reactions.
I joined the team in January 2000. I had met Gabe when he was starting Valve, and I was at Sierra Online. But pretty much the first thing was, you know, Gabe was like, so when you're at Sierra, we did this deal with you for Half-Life and Half-Life 2. You need to go fix that, because we don't like the deal that we did. You know, the intellectual property for Half-Life was owned by Vivendi. The Team Fortress IP was owned by Vivendi. So it was get back our IP, get a better royalty rate, and then have the ability to experiment.
Now this
with
is where it
online
gets
distribution.
fucked.
We knew we were going to grow
Documentary.
the team. And then part of the deal was also that we were going to take on all of the funding responsibility for Half-Life 2, TF2, all those things. There was cash flow from Half-Life. We were figuring out how to do things here and there, like expansion packs. A large part of it was Gabe tapping into his assets. He had done fairly well at Microsoft, not crazy well, but things started to get a little thin.
Oh, I have seen the clip, I think. Maybe. If this is the same thing. That was a Pharrell beat.
So I assume you guys have talked to...
Yeah, I've seen this clip.
Scott or Eric or somebody about sort of the context of the whole...
Yes, we talked to Scott, Eric, and Gabe about it.
Yeah.
Sierra, by that point, had become acquired by Vivendi, had worldwide distribution rights, but only for retail packaged product.
Vivendi was licensing Counter-Strike to cyber cafes. We went to Vivendi and said, hey, this is not a big deal. Just agree that this is outside of your license. And, you know, we've spent a little bit on attorney's fees, just cover, you know, some tens of thousands, just cover us for that. And we'll move on and just keep going. And they wouldn't do it. I think some people at Vivendi did not like the new deal that they ended up signing. And I think there were some hurt feelings.
Counter-Strike OG was a huge part of my youth. I wish I could say the same about TF2.
When we said, hey, the cyber cafe thing, you know, you really can't do that.
200 hours
on top of, you know, a year of negotiations. And
I don't like pausing frequently, but now I need to know my TF2 hours. Great. 152. That's pretty low.
Torturous negotiations.
2,500 hours is wild.
An angry court. We ended up filing the lawsuit, but really just on this narrow thing of like, hey court, you know, will you go just read this language and say, are they outside the license or not? And Vivendi
mostly as medic crouching behind the heavy on payload maps.
We filed our case in Seattle. federal court in Seattle, and they hired a law firm to defend it, of course. There was some initial skirmishing about discovery. There were some disputes and motions that had to be decided by the judge, and those went all Valve's way. And then suddenly, the law firm disappeared. They hired a big scary law firm from
531 on Half-Life 2 is pretty crazy.
Valve's had some
that just
success
from
in this case,
Deathmatch?
and so
No,
we need to change their
Deathmatch is
mindset
separate.
from we think we're going to be successful to we're going to be destroyed. The next thing we knew, here comes this big stack of counterclaims.
Mapping.
Everything from canceling the 2001 agreement to obtaining ownership of all the Half-Life IP, to keeping us from doing Steam, to you name it, where they included Scott and Julie Lynch and Gabe and Lisa Newell, his wife at that time, personally, as defendants.
And so it was kind of like, well, we're going to put Valve out of business, and then we're going to bankrupt the two of you. I think that was a lot of what they felt like was their path towards winning this fight.
They decided that it would have more effect and be scarier if process servers showed up at everybody's house in the night and a real bullshit move.
It's not a legal strategy. It's basically trying to intimidate you.
What is like teetering? Every game clip.
Are we going to
what the
take all
fuck?
this money
I didn't
from
know
the
that was a
company, but we're
keybind.
gonna intimidate
Why
you?
is he teetering?
A real bullshit.
Why is he
move.
like? Why is
It's
his
not a
room
legal
moving?
strategy. It's basically
I'm
trying to
looking at?
intimidate you.
What is the like? Both don't make sense. Is the outside moving or is the inside moving? Or is this like water or something? Is that a boat? Is he like on a boat? Is that a dock and he's on a boat in New Zealand?
A legal strategy.
Dude, I
It's
think he's on a
basically trying
boat.
to intimidate you. So in other words, they're saying not only are we going to take all this money from the company, but we're going to take money from you personally as well.
Probably
I
his
can't think of
yacht.
another case.
Fucking
when that
respect.
happened.
They were
Come to my
certainly a
yacht
lot
to talk
bigger
about
than we were.
Half-Life.
Vivendi was a multinational conglomerate. As compared to us, their funding was infinite. It felt very David versus Goliath.
Publishers at that time in the industry were used to being able to bully developers, right? And so this was really about an assertion of power as much as it was optimizing for a financial outcome. The tactics
He's
that
on
they
a
were
boat
using were
next
trying to
to
just run us out
another
of
of his
money,
boats.
right? So they knew how much money we were
Yeah.
making because they were doing retail distribution of our games. And so they were just trying to crank up our legal costs as just another way of draining resources from the company.
We were protected from that a lot internally, so we didn't have to think about it. They did a pretty good job of letting the team concentrate on what the team could do without worrying about the future of the company so much. I mean, that was my perspective.
So yeah, I definitely was not shielded from that. The lawsuit was something where it's like created all this uncertainty around whether the game's going to come out. Vivendi was definitely trying to use that as leverage. And so even if we finish the game, they're not going to let us release it.
There came a point
that's so
where
scary.
Gabe had pretty much used up his liquid assets. And he was like, should I put the house on the market? And I was like, yeah, I think it's the time where you put the house on the market if we want to keep going.
The company was pretty close to going bankrupt. I was pretty close to going personally
He had a
bankrupt.
small boat back in the day. Yeah, I've been a boat
It's
guy.
like there was no money left. Like,
How anxious was that for you personally?
I don't know. There's certain things that I'm kind of a weird person in a number of dimensions. Like I don't really think, oh, this is super scary. Like I don't have an emotional response to it. I just say, well, this is
He's just like me
what
for
we're
real.
doing. This is how, and
He's
we'll
born
see
to be
how it
stoic.
plays out. So I don't think it was super stressful to me, right? I mean, it didn't really bother me. Like I was diving in South Africa recently, and a shark tried to bite me a couple of times, and the people around me were way more freaked out than I was. I was like, oh, a shark's trying to bite me. I should get away from the shark. Whereas other people were having like, oh, a shark.
Only a psycho like him could create
Somebody,
Half-Life. That's the truth.
And I just think that's how I'm wired. I don't think it's anything that speaks to my character or anything. It's like I just seem to not get particularly agitated around risk, which probably means I take on more risk than at times than most sane people would, which can be a positive, or you can wreck a bunch of other people's lives being in the neighborhood of your risk indifference.
As the team worked, most had no idea how short of cash the studio really was. The legal fight with Vivendi would continue right up until the launch of Half-Life 2. God damn. I don't have a full time frame, but you're not saying that to mean it's short. This really looks like a Bone Lab trailer.
They're this rigidly structured
you're talking about that.
organization. Of course, they're going to have this really terse
fear,
language
F-E-A-R.
for everything they do. You know, there's sort of an announcer voice in that follows you around and kind of comments status, essentially, like how alert the world is to you.
Yeah.
I sat down and just basically wrote a language for that, so that the soldiers
but the IP
and
went to
Metrocops
Warner
would have
Brothers.
Jargon.
Oh
that
my
they would
God.
use. Then I just used that to
Yeah,
kind
I
of
hope they make the
encode.
movie.
So that's where like Anti-Citizen 1 and things like that came from, rather than saying the guy with the orange suit is causing trouble. You know, it would be, you know, Anti-Citizen 1 breach, scalpel something, sector something. So I basically just had this little dictionary. Then I overdid it on the vocal processing because they're all wearing these, you know, these masks, and I wanted it to sound like they're in a mask.
And it was very deliberate to never have to like shoot somebody that you can see their face, and like we didn't want you killing humans. I mean, the Metrocops are humans, but we covered all the faces up. I think it was all part of this calculated and deliberate way of saying like, look, games don't just have to be a certain way. There's so much room in what we can do here.
Well, the Metro Police and the Combine Soldiers share a lot of AI.
This room looks like shit. What the fuck? Those crates, they look horrible. I know it's like a beta or whatever, but it's just caught me off guard how bad that looked.
Well, the Metro Police and the Combine Soldiers, the number of squad members that can be firing at the player at any given time, I think it's 2. So if you have a squad of 4, a guy who has an opportunity to shoot at the player grabs one of those slots, if it's available, and starts to shoot. And if someone else, another squad member, wants to attack the player but no slots are available, they have to find the next best thing to do, which is, I'll get out of the scene for a second, or I'll go reload, or I'll throw a grenade. And that was all stuff that we learned.
Crazy how many layers there are to it. When you play it, you're just like, oh, cool game. They had to like create like some of like the conventions we know today.
You know, hand-placed nodes by developers in the levels would describe a really super low fidelity.
They lost the email with the exact step-by-step. That's so sad.
Designers to sort of inject
shit because it was simple port.
A little bit the AIs in ways that were just easier for them to sort of be in control, as opposed to having to
I died to that fucking bridge.
Or a programmer to be able to get really cool things into the game.
I didn't die to the fire, but I died to the bridge. Oh, this level. Yep.
Floor is Lava is like a really obvious piece of gameplay. Physics is really fun to manipulate. We just thought like, hey, you know, you could build your own path. You know, we'd already seen players who enjoyed moving stuff around, like building bridges and stuff, and like, we don't have enough moments where like, I just pick up a plank and lay it across a gap and walk across it. Like, obvious stuff. We barely done that.
A rebel died to the bridge one time.
And the fact that you're laying stuff down on the floor means that the finesse required to do like precise placement wasn't necessary, right? You're like, I just want to place it here. And it doesn't matter the orientation, you just kind of jump on it and you do the next one and so on, right? And also like, training was free. Like, we didn't have to train it. It was like,
everyone got it
and I was like, oh, it's Floor is Lava.
Laszlo, the finest mind of his generation.
He couldn't figure that one out.
He tells you exactly how to do it.
Someone's coming. You there! Stop where you are! Stay on the rocks! Don't step on the sand. It makes the avalanche crazy.
I immediately stepped on the stand. It was so funny. I guess it's either way. It'll happen.
Dear God! Poor Laszlo! The finest mind of his generation. To come to such an end. We were heading for the Vortigaunt camp, hoping to pick up some bug baits of these damn things and leave us alone. Without Laszlo, what's the point?
You just give these NPCs a name at the moment they die, and let the fans fill in their whole life story and give them something to play
Classic.
with. The Freeman will have need of these pheropods on the paths ahead. Gather them now.
Ugh, Captioner, you're fucking it up. You think that's what's going on here? Whoever made these fucking captions. You men? What the hell?
Pteropods on the paths ahead.
Play the damn game before you make the
Nova
captions.
Prospect and the antlions with the pheromone balls were really fun because it lets you experience them in a different way, and it was another classic example of getting the most value out of technology investments that people could.
I remember the beach thing. The design intention was definitely to make it feel like a sort of D-Day beach landing. You didn't come from the water, but you're storming up towards these old gun emplacements. If I remember right, with Combine in them, and you're like invading the bunkers, and you're bringing your horde with you. You're overwhelming these in place defenses.
Yep.
It was
Love
surprising how much chaos
I
you
remember
could get
backdating
away
a
with.
guy for the prison courtyard fight. He didn't know
to make sure the
you could
antlions spawned.
hit the
We had
watchtowers
difficulties from
with the
time to time with,
pods.
like, design some choke point or challenge or whatever, and the antlion flow rate wasn't enough to make it feel
Backseating.
Chaotic enough. Like we had an atmospheric goal too. It
There were
wasn't just
plenty of
about,
moments
like,
where I'm glad someone
mechanically
didn't just,
overcome
oh my
this.
god,
You
this
wanted
is
to
how you
feel
do
like
it.
Your forces
dumb little gamer.
stormed the walls. They're everywhere. There's chaos all around you. And so a lot of the tuning was about achieving that feeling, not just about mechanically getting past the enemies that we'd set.
Nova Prospect was different than a lot of the maps that I worked on, at least, is that in that we had some early art prototypes that were done. We have this whole concept of like zoo maps, we call them, which are basically like little art test scenes,
I love this.
how they would fit together, and some basic lighting.
But by the time our cabal got to Nova Prospect, we knew we were coming in with antlions and with bug bait, and so we already knew that a bunch of stuff was going to change.
I was
with
crouching
antlions
behind
and with
right
bug-
here, and then I didn't even throw one, but one of my fuckers just lit this thing up.
And so
I got
we
so
already
mad.
knew that a bunch of stuff was going to change because we had to support, you and your army of antlions fighting Combine soldiers. Antlions looked great whenever they were being shot by anyone.
Yeah.
Like particle flecks flying off, and they always looked great. And so setting them up against Combine soldiers looked great. Setting them up against turrets looked great.
I wish I got to
Those were
do it
super fun
one
scenarios
more
to work on,
time
though, because
in the
having these
in the
antlines that you could
episodes.
just use in any way you wanted was really fun. Like, and coming from the coast, like just the contrast of like shrinking everything down and then just piling it full of stuff was a lot of fun.
The first time I saw one of those, I think it was Ted Backman's concept. I just thought, I can't believe that I get to use a creature this cool in level design. Like these,
Oh no,
these
not
guys
the
are really,
Striders.
really, really fun to use.
Oh no.
I remember Kelly Bailey had created a short list, things like he wanted flocking flyers and he wanted a moving guard tower, which was the first description of the Strider, was a mobile guard tower. So I saw that and immediately understood that, kind of orchestrating the enemies in that way, trying to get the most variety and the most breadth of shape and movement and experience was the correct way to move forward.
The design for that first Strider map was something I came up with and I was really passionate about. It was all about like running across and just getting like one shot in your tush, right? Just as you made it through.
Even just hearing
I
the sound,
hated
the
it.
thump, thump, thump of them walking, like, okay, there's like a boss nearby. You just see the legs walking by, but you can't see the body. Like, there are so many things you can do with these guys.
Honestly, there was...
You got blocked for saying DILF. I'll add permitted term. Wait, I didn't realize it did that every time. This is pretty nully added permitted term. DILF. The English guy has DILF energy.
There's still people on the team, I think, that were
He's
still...
like a non-threatening Henry
There are so
Rollins.
many things you can do with these guys.
Honestly, there were still people on the team, I think, that were still thinking that we were going to bomb. That people are just going to not be impressed.
When did you know it was going to be good?
E3.
That's a good question.
E3. Yeah, I'd say the same thing.
Oh wow, it looks so different. I know it's built in the Half-Life 1 engine, I know.
Yeah, it seems like at some point there was an E3 demo that we got together that we didn't end up showing, but at least at that point it just felt like, oh wow, we actually have made something here.
We went through and made a bunch of demos for 2002, and everybody looked at them and was like, we're still not confident about this, and we don't think we've hit the bar, so we're not going to go at all. Like, they had totally planned to go. And then when 2003 rolled around, I just remember everyone was still terrified. We were like,
This
okay,
is
how are we going to
2003, then. I
craft
said, wow.
everything we've had into like a number of messages about what this product is? And like, We came up with like the core theme of each one of these movies.
Oh, do be careful.
We didn't really understand at the time, I think, the embarrassment of riches that we had. We looked at it from two angles. One was a set of technical features, a sort of conceptual listing of things that we thought were important, you know, like physics and
holy shit,
things like that. And then the other side was content-based. What areas of the game were innovative, what areas of the story we thought were compelling.
Crisis was another big jump in technology and graphics. PC Gamer at the time said it made Half-Life 2 look outdated.
Which features and which content are the best showcase for all those things.
Was that I'm sorry, was that a
are
lightsaber? What the fuck is that?
Best showcase for all those things.
That's just what we're calling an
RPG.
RPG.
The demos was rendering technology, but I think the stuff that felt the strongest to most of us at the time.
Maybe that was a guided rocket.
Based.
So if something looks like wood, then it sounds like wood, scrapes like wood, floats like it, and if you shoot it, it'll fragment like wood.
To people at that time, it was pretty mind-blowing.
I feel like a game that comes out nowadays isn't even going to do that.
Knock other things over, use things in a way that felt true to a three-dimensional reality.
Oh,
Maybe it's on those videos,
yeah.
I don't remember, but people were gasping
that is sick.
You know, hitting the people next to them because they couldn't really believe what they were seeing on the screen.
There's no
How do you get the laser?
complexity of those interactions. So it's this level of believable and consistent interactivity.
I feel like if I saw this nowadays, if there was an E3, I know E3 is shut down, but if an E3 demo showed this, I would be like, that's pretty sick. Like, I wouldn't even believe that this was doable in 2007. Prioritization of realism over physics, yeah. Yeah, fuck realism.
New gameplay mechanics.
This will run on my 486.
You know, that person who was talking about a 486, like obviously it's just about...
The guy's like immortal, like
you know,
he's just been heard a billion times.
This will run on my 486.
That's awesome.
You know, that person who was talking about a 486, like obviously it's just about, like, you must have a supercomputer behind, like, how are you even doing this? What is going on?
How about a soda?
The lines outside the booth became enormous, and it was the thing that it really distorted the rest of E3 because so many people were anxious to come see our demo.
And I remember seeing this absolutely enormous line with like some pretty well-known people in
I can't even play Fallout 4. It looks trash to me. Infinite polys, but no design or art to give it a feeling that matches the
after
game.
that was all done, like people on the team were just like, okay, we are ready. We can ship this game. We know we've got something good. It was really easy at that point. Like it felt like we were rolling the ball downhill after
Until it
that.
leaked.
Until it leaked.
The hack.
When something like this happens, there's not like a big sign saying you've been hacked and somebody has access. Like you start off with something that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and you start
Really
pulling
shitty
on that
CPU
sweater
from
thread.
1989. Oh my god.
And they made wearable computer stuff. So he was kind of winding it down, and he had one or two Unix servers that hosted the Tangis.com domain name. Unfortunately, they were put inside the firewall and didn't have the latest Linux or whatever security updates on them.
It ran Doom below
And so
60
this
FPS.
kid from Germany was able to sort of exploit his way into that.
Oh wait, I missed literally all the cool shit.
One or two Unix servers that hosted the Tangis.com domain name. Unfortunately, they were put inside the firewall and didn't have the latest Linux or whatever security updates on them. And so this kid from Germany was able to sort of exploit his way into that. He sat there for months, I think. He was able to sync the build, all the source code.
I was riffing ideas for, I think in particular, Counter-Strike. That information ended up on one of the internet chat rooms. And only two people knew the contents of that email. Of course, gave myself. And I went to ITG and said, this could only have come from a leaked email. We got to figure out how that got out there.
But I remember at some point Gabe walking around, you know, like one of those moments like, turn your computer off, something just happened.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I remember being at my desk and he called me like, turn your computer off, I think we're being hacked. And I was, what? Like, I didn't know what to do. I actually did not know what to do.
I remember coming in that morning and figuring it out, and it just felt like someone had just punched me in the gut.
You know, it's like the bit in movies where, like, after an explosion, they'll have a scene where someone's like staggering around the street and everyone's like, what's this mean? Like, can we still keep working on the game? Yeah. Like, is someone just going to release the whole game tomorrow?
And I don't know if the guy who hacked it intended to, I think,
he showed it to friends.
He intended the wide distribution.
He showed it to friends, and then one of his friends posted it somewhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit really doesn't leak like it used to. Like, I can't imagine a whole build. Oh, that. Wait, 2003? That is interesting.
And one
That's
of the
kind
things
of
I think
early
that's
on.
pretty interesting is how much
We said the same
leak
word.
of the game, the hack of our network and the leak of the game, how much that kind of shattered that confidence.
It was like, you know, having a movie that you're working on be spoiled for the world. That's how it felt. Because we knew it would be hard for people to know that that existed.
This is
and
what it
not
looked
go
like.
look at
Okay.
it all. It looked all broken to us, and it just
Yeah,
felt
there's
really
that part of it.
demoralizing.
Oh man, I was seriously affected by that.
The hacker just wanted to check out the most anticipated game of all time.
It kind of
Yeah.
affected me for a while. You know, having it having it called the beta when it was not even close to being a beta. It's work in progress, you know. Wasn't really ready to be seen yet.
Normally the office is pretty vibrant and loud, and people are riding scooters in the hallway and doing all sorts of stuff. Gabe's tube and throat singing, and it got very still and very quiet. I remember that. That was very eerie. That was the game that was going to make
You can still download it. That is where my mind just went to. I think I kind of want to do like a I ranked, and it's a bunch of like the still like kind of like official Half-Life stuff, but like, you know, like the weird like PS2 multiplayer mode, Lost Coast. Like I want to just play like all those, but I don't know. I want to just do like a Ludwig style, just like I ranked every
jobs.
Yeah.
Not only did it show everybody that we were not anywhere near where we said we would be, but all the work that we had in progress, all the plans that we were making were just laid out bare. And so a lot of us just thought, oh, we're toast. We've worked so hard. Are we going to go bankrupt? And then all that while Scott Lynch and Gabe were being sued by Sierra, their wives being delivered subpoenas. And so it was this super dark time.
So there were two interesting threads going on. One
he
was,
said they were going to release it into that. That does change everything.
And they were doing their thing and issuing subpoenas and seizing devices. And then we asked our community
if they're
to
like,
help us out.
we'll release it
And
by
I think
about the end
Axel
of the
Gembe
year,
started
early
to
next year.
realize that he
looks
he
like
was being
this.
tracked down by the community, right?
Well, they were going to delay it anyway. Still, if you're going with this was going to come out this year and that comes
so you could
out,
see that they were getting
that's
closer, and that's when
devastating.
he reached out to me. Of course, I was insanely furious with him, but we ended up running this sort of scheme with him where I was like, oh, wow, you must be really good at security issues. We should have you come out and interview. And the FBI was going to arrest him when he got off the plane.
And then apparently the German police sweep in right as he's about to leave because...
Dude, I would fall for that. Am I crazy? I would fall for that if because that's what some companies do. Like Apple will be like, hack us and we'll give you $1 million.
Yeah. But we ended up
I would
running this
so fall for this.
Sort of scheme with him where it's like,
yeah.
Wow, you must be really good at security issues. We should have you come out and interview. And the FBI was
must have been working so hard on the non-cosmetic aspects and felt like it just took amateur to be. Yeah, exactly.
He's about to leave because it turns out he's also guilty of a bunch of bank fraud and bank hacking and all that.
He had
kind of
hacked
stuff.
into a bunch of huge
Aren't we
companies
all?
over there as well, so they were already well aware of him.
How much it harmed us financially, or like how much the success of the game was harmed by that, very debatable. So it was hard for us to go through.
I don't know if it
internally,
was.
but,
I can't imagine Half-Life 2 being any bigger than it is
have
now.
It be a whole like law enforcement debacle after that. It just, it wouldn't have really helped.
I think they got a really good ending despite the leak.
About security, but like if we could survive that, like maybe we'll survive anything, because at the end of the day, the special sauce was everything that happened between the moment of that leak and when we actually shipped. And if you look at that version of the game, it's just so not what
people
the
were making
final game
Half-Life
ended up
2 mods
being.
before it
And
even
so
came
even
out.
if
Yeah,
our competition had all the source code and that executable, they're still
Been
not
having the
able to
time of my
produce
life
Half-Life 2
watching
from
people play it for the first
because
time recently.
The company
Yeah,
kept moving
it's-
forward, and the company
it's
was
sick.
the interesting special sauce.
They cut that guy's sentence off. I'm not reading this one. Building pressure. Best was two guys having a chapter race.
In particular, he had kind of a pencil sketch of an idea in his head of what would become Steam. But it was clear that Team Fortress Classic and then later Counter-Strike, it was fundamentally the thing that we were really attracted to was our ability to ship content directly to our customers. I mean, there was a set of business goals that ended up being part of Steam, but fundamentally it was a bunch of game development goals that it was servicing that were so attractive to us.
It was a very weird time. Like, I don't think people understand how many times we would go to people and say, no, you will be able to distribute software over the internet, and have people just say, no, it will never happen. I'm not talking about one or two people. I mean, like 99% of the companies we talked to said it will never happen. Your retail sales force will never let it happen. But also people would say users aren't gonna want this, right? People want physical copy. Like, there were so many bad faith arguments that were being made. Retail sales is not the goal, right? It's actually an impediment that it's somebody who sits between you and a customer.
And we ended up going out to the
I can't imagine retail being like a big thing for PC games. Like, I just can't imagine that world. PC will like always be
this sort of in-game advertising
software in
streaming
my
model,
head.
but then there was the epiphany that, hey, it's just bits. Why don't we just download whole games this way? You guys go off and do it.
The decision to not only use Steam to ship Half-Life 2, but actually to require Steam, even in the versions that were purchased at retail in a box, was the most interesting decision of all those.
That looks like the one. That looks like the big moving wall thing in the game.
Decision of all
wait,
those,
that's a whole
because
Half-Life crate.
it
Wait,
turned out to be
wait, is
an
the Valve
incredibly
Office
important
theme?
decision for the future of the company. And a lot of us were nervous, and a lot of the people who had been at Valve for a long
PC
time,
management became
since
easier.
the very
Yeah.
beginning, were the most nervous about that decision. And so it was one of the rare exceptions to our decision-making process usually, and Gabe had to really step in and say, no, actually, we're doing it this way.
I remember coming to work in the morning, working on Half-Life 2, which meant that, you know, by the time you go home at night, me being a 24-year-old idiot, all I wanted to do was keep working on the game. And, you know, I started just making the game work on multiplayer, right? You know, mostly just working on prediction, like what would it feel like to have a gravity gun on a multiplayer setting, right? Getting physics objects to work. You know, it was just curiosity. Scott Dalton saw me working on it, and he's like, I'll make a map, and then we play. Put the map up, we started playing in the office in between, you know, builds of Half-Life 2, like playtest. And I remember Gabe walking by my desk, and I remember him going like, what's that? And I said, oh, it's Half-Life multiplayer. And he's like, show it to me tomorrow. And he just walked away.
I think that is one of the advantages of the general cost we always pay to keep our code in a single code base. So when we're working on TF2 and Half-Life 2 at the same time, at that point, we're paying this continuous cost in Half-Life 2 for the fact that it's built upon an engine that's designed to do multiplayer. But it means that when you get to this later point where you start asking, well, can we build multiplayer deathmatch out of this? The code's all sort of built upon a client-server sort of foundation.
Definitely the most entertaining thing that you could throw at somebody that happened to be scattered around the world was picking up a toilet and hurling it at someone's head, and then having that show up in the upper right corner of your screen with name, toilet name, was very satisfying.
I was also selfishly trying to get the game ported to multiplayer so then we can release the tools, the SDK, ready to go. Like, it meant like mod makers could just immediately start making multiplayer game mods,
just like Bone Lab.
rather than waiting for us to do it or someone else to pick it up.
One thing I hate in the industry is now open betas became an advertising demo rather than to test the game.
I remember that was one of the lessons that came away from Half-Life 1 is like, we need to be building these games backwards in a sense. The first thing we're going to put in front of people is the thing we built when we're as good as we can be at it. You know, we know our tools and things like that. And a lot of the anxiety over, are we building a good game, was behind us. And I felt really confident, yeah, we're building a really good game.
We're entering the Gare d'Austerlitz. And this train station is very important because it's one of the main inspirations for
I already
the
start
train
to see it a little bit.
of City 17, where the player starts. The reason why I'm using a Parisian station produced by Eiffel, who did the Eiffel Tower, is that there's an identical station in Budapest.
Train station's the last bit we worked on, right? And we always want to build the start of the game late, as late as we can, because we understand our game at that point.
In general, the train station was a really interesting problem because it was basically one big choreo sequence intended to deliver atmosphere and story and background and sort of set your expectations for the world.
We let the level designers, who were really good at this stuff, figure out what was a good experience. And then we were kind of always there to provide dialogue, acting, stuff like this guy.
I think it was pretty clear, too, that we wanted to provide incentive to the player at this point about how people were being mistreated, about how bad the situation was here, and kind of start to trigger
half Art Deco, half Soviet.
All this stuff is fun to look at, but you just assume it doesn't move and you can't interact with it, you can't pick it up. Because all the stuff we're going to do later with the gravity gun and everything, like, first we got to start just mundane stuff like that food, you know, that little empty bit of food.
I mean, it happens like the moment you leave the train, wind comes and blows all the trash away.
Doing it everywhere.
You can see the Vortigaunt sweeping. So like, guy put on the
case. Did I notice that? I wonder if I even noticed that.
Those up and
we were like, if it doesn't have to be bolted down, just make sure that it gets knocked over.
Can move.
This guy looks vaguely familiar. There's something about the way he walks.
It's like a beer drinker.
Who would have thought Barney has the capacity to go undercover, right? Like that seemed to be, you know, above his pay grade, above his intelligence pay grade from the get-go.
Look at that beautiful animation. But where does hat go? It's gone. Something is not right here.
Just disappears behind his back. I didn't even notice that.
Get people to figure out how to pick up things and do things.
That's what would suck about being a developer, especially on your own game, but in every game in general, you just see so much, see through the matrix of everything.
And at some point I got frustrated and I smacked it off his desk. I'm like, well, you pick that up then. And everyone kind of sat around. I was like,
I just found it just an immensely satisfying piece of like a storytelling and world setting. You know, we got to use our physics tools and the choreo tools and all of those things blended together into this very simple, clean moment.
Like the can cup is perfect also because while it's teaching you how to manipulate objects, it's also telling you something about the Combine themselves and the Metro Cops.
And your relationship.
Right? Yeah, so like it was a twofer, right? We got those two at the same time.
Physics is going to be a big part of our game. By the time you left train station as a player, like you understood that.
Classic misdirection.
Because we couldn't wait until you got to Ravenholm before you found out how awesome physics is. If you'd had any kind of weapon, I think they would have had to kill you. And we found the longer we sort of held that away from ourselves, the more we were forced to come up with stuff that was still entertaining that you could do. Like the raid is a whole, you know, in the tenements, is a whole thing that could work because the player could only run.
We don't very often.
Did that say pilot?
That could work because the player could only run.
We don't very often force the player into a very specific set of actions.
I think these captions are made by AI, proofread by like,
corral the player.
You know, just a quick scroll.
Pretty successful. Like I think the consequences for sort of not following on the clear path were quick and efficient.
Like the idiot captioning this is like, yeah, Gordon's like a pilot, I think. It's like that's type of, like a Tom Cruise type of.
So when you build a world, I start with the infrastructure. What's really interesting for me is what is not visible to the tourist, which is the courtyard, the backyard, the shafts and the smokestacks and the wires. And every city has this whole existence
I like this guy.
People are usually blind to it, and we tend to look at storefronts, right?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it came down to art direction. I mean, Victor was very familiar with all that, the look and feel. You know, there was certain patterns and certain, iconic shapes that anybody who lived there could pick up on. You know, they're like, oh yeah, my grandmother had that dresser or whatever. And my parents are from Argentina, and so they have that kind of sensibility, but a lot of it came down to the reference gathering, which was from Bulgaria, from
She's so
Paris.
based, yeah.
We have these buildings that again have back courtyards. They have big staircases. They have attic spaces, cellar spaces, and the apartments have big windows and thick walls. So this was providing already a lot of context for people who can hide in these apartments.
Help me! Stop! We didn't do anything! They'll be looking for you now. You better run.
I remember that we wanted to have the player see proof that the Combine were evil people, not that they were gray in any way, that they were objectively the bad guys. And then we had it to where you go upstairs, and then we really carefully and intentionally framed the reveal of the world to where you see the Citadel front and center, and it's clearly in an alert state.
The four of us, the City 17 cabal.
Yeah, there's so much you just don't like think about, like
we've done.
Like a staircase reveal like that.
It's framed the reveal of the world to where you see the Citadel front and center.
I just like hearing that there's like intent. Yeah, carefully thought out. I love hearing that things like that are thought out.
We've done City 17, which
not
is
just
a
like
bunch of hard
coincidence.
problems. We've done.
And I guess in a way that reveal is kind of like no.
I don't know, 4 months from trying to lock down the game or something. I mean, it was really late. I may have the dates wrong, but it was really late. And there was a bunch of gameplay that was in there that hadn't really received a lot of like development.
We were coming from working with pretty much every tool in the game in C17 to going back to basically you have a pistol and metric ops. Not much really. So John Guthrie and I absolutely love exploding barrels. So we just used
They were very present for the first
everywhere we could.
couple hours of the
We
game.
loved ragdoll magnets and physics. It's just one of my favorite tools. It's basically you have a point in space that when a character dies, they turn into a ragdoll. And then you have a ragdoll magnet that says, okay, if there is any ragdoll in this radius, pull towards me, and then you can give it a strength. And so if somebody dies in an especially dramatic location, you can have an especially dramatic death.
Yeah, I do work at 5.
Absolutely.
No, next we have to get through some real YouTube content.
The train bridge.
It'll be fun. I'll come back to games like this, but we got to get some YouTube videos done.
They just like the planks beneath their feet broke, and they just fell directly down. I mean, they died from a broken plank, which doesn't make any sense, but they looked pretty cool. It was so orchestrated, I guess, because we didn't want it to, we didn't really have a lot of time to
editing stream.
Have a lot of bugs.
Oh no, not of Half-Life. Like I have to stream several ideas that I've thought of for videos. I'll probably do that on Sunday though. I don't work on Sunday.
You know, our team was the one that did the Citadel. You know how I said that there was multiple passes on the product over the course of the thing? Well, Citadel had almost no pass. And we were thinking about Street War, and we were like, well, we just had like this incredibly intense, Strider fight. How are we gonna outdo that, especially when we only got a month to do this thing? We then came up with the idea of like, well, what if we made this just
Pause,
be your
my
God,
cat is scratching at my door.
The reward.
I don't like that. Okay.
You've won the game. Enjoy. We're gonna break all the rules and let you be God for a little bit.
Yeah.
Picking up, the enemies as ragdolls and throwing them around.
I liked this
really
part.
came out of that development tool because you could pick them up and move them around, and people are like, I don't know, that's pretty fun. Why can't we do that in the game?
It was either a week or a day. It was incredibly quick. I had every single mechanic of the Citadel mocked up. The Combine ball was actually a very, very heavy watermelon that would bounce around and eventually break up. I had spikes in the wall that you could skewer them on. We had electric fields that you can throw them in. We had the zero-G fields that they would get stuck in. And we had ripping off the machines off the walls. All that stuff all came together within an incredibly short period of time, just a couple days. Very shortly after that, people were like, you know, we were having a real hard time with the AR2's alt fire. So maybe we'll just steal this because it's kind of cool, and we'll bring it early.
I never even noticed that somehow.
Game development never does this. It never like just materializes out of nothing in that short a time and is just something that everybody's excited and happy about. And it just it felt really good to be a part of that.
Lawsuit.
I started working on trying to find another source.
Let me make sure I don't work at 4
keep
actually.
Valve going. I
That'd be
started
devastating.
working on
I know
deal
for a fact
with
it's
a big
5, but you know what?
publisher that was for Counter-Strike 2. So we're right there, ready to sign. We're really kind of running on fumes at that point, and then get a phone call, and they're like, "Yeah, we changed our mind. We're not doing the deal." You know, I remember one. They're ready to publisher to keep Valve going. I started working on a deal with a big publisher that was for Counter-Strike 2. So we're right there, ready to sign.
They also planned that Rebels were going to storm the Citadel with Gordon.
And
yeah.
then get a phone call, and they're like,
and they cut it
"Yeah,
for
we
just
changed our
Gordon.
mind. We're not doing the deal." You know, I remember
I think that makes
conversation
sense.
with Gabe, which is like, he was like, "So how fucked are we?" And I was like, "Well, we're kind of screwed. We could probably reformat everything that we're doing, but it means we lay off people."
You can still sit there. Oh, that's awesome. The chapter icon. I love things like that where there's like evidence of what it used to be.
Another publisher, and we're able to get a deal done with another publisher for Counter-Strike 2. When we got the deal done, Gabe at that point was super into knives, and as the deal gift for the parties, he built a knife that was inscribed Counter-Strike 2. And so the deal structure was, after we ship Half-Life 2, if you decide that you don't want to keep moving forward, then you can just decide to terminate the deal and we'll pay the money back. That ended up happening. So maybe a good choice, because it took us a long time to ship Counter-Strike 2. So that we got done in probably May of 2003. And then through some more depositions, Vivendi figured out that we had gotten this new infusion of capital and kind of lost their mind trying to figure out how did that happen.
Why are they so mean? Like,
clearly part of their strategy was, you know,
did they like short Valve or some shit? And they're like, do they benefit in any way from fucking over Valve?
The real nub of this, and the thing that's going to lead to a resolution, getting the judge to decide that we were right about the cyber cafe business, and also
or just because they said cyber cafe,
if you were distributing,
they were like, "Well, fuck you for the rest of your life."
Without a license, that's copyright infringement. You know, we had asked for information about what they were doing in Asia, including Korea, and they, I think, to try to make our lives more difficult.
That's the Super Mario movie.
Chunk of documents in Korean that were in Korean. I mean, everything from
I've seen this clip.
Contracts to you name it.
And one of the things they were doing is just dumping huge amounts of discovery on it to force us to go and just have somebody go and look through it. It's like, oh, look, they ordered sandwiches again, right? It has nothing to do with the lawsuit. It's just an attempt to overwhelm us with
do not eat my Apple cord. What are you doing?
Documents on the assumption
that is how I charge my iPhone
there's nothing
every
in
day.
it that will be particularly problematic for
big
their
bite
case.
too, she chomped it.
Just we'll either spend a bunch of money, which plays into their hands, or we'll just eventually give up because it's finding a needle in the haystack. And then we found the needle in the haystack, and that changed things quite dramatically.
It just so happened that there was an intern, summer associate, who was a native Korean speaker. And I said, Andrew, hey, can you look at this pile here and can you just tell me what's in there?
I would guess that particular intern probably went through a couple thousand documents that day, and only one was consequential.
And they
That'd
said,
be
well,
amazing.
there's these other emails between
these
vice presidents where one says something like, hey, we destroyed those Valve documents like you asked. And I said, are you sure it says that? And I said, yeah, that's what it says. And so, of course, that led to a conversation between me and the lawyer for the other side about, hey, it looks like your guys are destroying evidence. What's up with that? They wrote back and said, you're out of your mind. Whoever translated doesn't know what they're talking about. I talked to Andrew again. I said, well, it looks like we're going to have a kind of a fight about this. Are you, we're going to need an affidavit from you about your translation. Can you tell me a little bit about your Korean skills? He goes, well, I'm a native speaker. At UCLA, I majored in Korean language studies. And
Just
I
the
said,
guy.
That's good. That sounds like
The
we're
guy.
in good shape.
The assistant general manager in Korea sending the letter to the general manager of Korea saying, I have destroyed those documents related to the Valve case as directed, which I think is one of Carl's happiest moments as a lawyer in his entire career. Just like stuff like this never, ever happens.
I did a lot of lawsuits for a long time. I never saw anything like that. Never. Maybe there was document destruction that couldn't be proved, but that was like, we're talking about it in writing. I'd never seen that before.
That is amazing.
At that point, Judge Zilli said, all
Korean interns saved so
matters
many
of
people,
fact
literally.
are now,
Korean interns saved the
according
damn
to Valve,
industry.
You know, you don't get to contest any of those. Now we're just discussing how much you're going to have to pay and what the damages are.
And Gabe was still pretty mad.
He
was mad. He really didn't want to settle. He was mad enough that he wanted to keep going. But I remember sitting down with Carl and having a conversation with Carl, and I was like, so Carl, what do you think? Should we settle at this point? Is the right number? And he was like, well, you know, there's this old saying, there's a difference between being a pig and a hog. It's great.
Carl was done with the deposition, and that was the only question I asked him to ask that particular witness was, is Half-Life 2 being replicated and shipped to retailers? He said yes. And the relief was, hey, no matter what, at least the game's going to get out to people, which is kind of that's a pretty unusual way to find out from your publisher that they're shipping your game to retail.
Sick. Wait, why was I saying 2007 this whole time? Dude, I thought this shit was 2007. Is it just because Orange?
You know, I've kind of been thinking about
Am I thinking
this
Portal
for the last
2?
few days, and
What's 2007? Orange Box was 2007. Okay. And it just included Half-Life 2. Okay. This whole time I've been thinking Half-Life 2 is from 2007. Yeah, okay. Right. Oh, because it took time for the episodes to come out. I see. Okay. So they were like, we make the episodes, include Team Fortress, include Port. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Now I get it.
you know, what if there was one thing that I can point to that made us successful over that development period? And I think that it was really this culture that Gabe created, where we were hiring people that were senior enough to be managers, but also passionate enough to still be individual contributors. They were willing to stake their credibility and their name on these big features, and sometimes spend
Other games were just
years
packaged
working on those
together.
features.
Right.
Yeah, and it was like, 6-7 days a week, 10 to 14 hours a day.
It wasn't always, I would say, a good 18 months at least, but a lot of good memories though. I mean, everyone in that room has such great sense of humor. Like we knew each other's sense of humor, we trusted each other, we respected each other enough that like we could.
Old Valve is so crazy to me. I keep saying it, but like,
each other's
what's it
toes and
even
stuff,
like
and
now?
it just worked pretty well.
It was just bigger, more pressure, but and I think that seriousness, in some ways, there's still humor, but that seriousness kind of infuses into the game. You feel it's a heavier game.
It's the most cohesive product feeling I can think of at scale that we've done as a company. The whole company was just aligned and got it done.
I think back on this experience, and it was a really hard time, but I feel super grateful because
Valve's in the process of being converted to a new
the very
generation.
best game that we possibly could, and
So many
given the
new
time
people
to
there
do
now.
it, we're going to ship it when it's done, even when
I
we
hope it
made
works out.
unreasonable promises about when that might be.
Because
in
it's the
advance.
meme of like,
And
just
it
be
was
the
also at a
goat and
time
all your
before the
competition
game
keeps shooting
industry
itself in the
was quite
foot.
as specialized
But
as
I'm
it
ready
is
for them
now,
to
where
like
people got
make
to
some shit.
wear multiple hats and contribute in all these different ways. So it was a rare life experience, and I'm really grateful to have been part of it.
The episodes. However, some old devs are coming back to, to work on an unannounced project that is Half-Life related.
Was the realization that we can't.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
We can't do 6-year-long bet the whole company bets over and over again, and if we get it wrong one time, we're a big crater in the ground, as Gabe would say. And so we started to think about episodic releases.
The first idea when they pitched it to us, like, we're going to do this episode of content. We'll do one every how much? 12 months.
Yeah, we were going to have like
One a
alternating
year.
teams.
Yeah.
Every year and a half, something like that.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, this is neat. But then, it just got out of hand.
So when they decided to start playing with episodic content, the promise
If the game gets released after that, Valve would probably convert it to a new generation. No, I think Half-Life 3 could, or whatever it is, could probably bridge the gap.
So a lot of it was like,
I guess that's probably what you're
do
saying,
more
though.
with less, like keep a bunch of the existing stuff and retweak it to make some new interesting scenario. Like probably the biggest real new thing for episode 1 as far as technology was just having Alex with you throughout the entire thing and having her behave in a way that was believable and fun. You know, she's with you for a few distinct parts in Half-Life 2, but they're always
Fuck Valve from the last decade, though. Yeah, it's pretty stupid. At least there's Half-Life Alex in there of like, the cool shit, but even the decade between, or the decade before Half-Life Alex.
Supernatural knowledge. She's not like just finding things without you lighting them up. But like if you throw a flare out or you look at them with the flashlight, it's like, okay, she's going to go for that target because she can see it.
I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to Alex
and it took forever. Like we were not just
mechanics,
partying, hanging out.
No, I was pretty much crunched that whole project.
Yeah, we were crunch mode.
Yeah.
And then same thing
We're
with
putting out
episode
stuff
2.
frequently.
We started at the same time as episode 1, and so we ran for an extra year that way, which allowed us to stretch and push more.
So the hunters were initially something that we wanted to have a more sort of frenetic pursuit built into the design of the character. So it was really focused on, at the time,
It still
creating a
gets
creature
me.
that could follow the player into more types of spaces.
One of the questions was, how do we keep Alex out of your way during this really intense, high-action
Pause.
scene where
My cat wants out.
where the player has agency to make whatever decision they want about where they want to be inside the house and that sort
That
of
shit was
thing.
probably fabricated by
That's where we got
G-Man
the
so we
idea
could
to have
distract
her
the
sort of
morts.
camp out by a window, and she would fire out the window and let you know if she saw any
Ooh, you're
hunters or
kind of
soldiers out
right.
that
You're
window.
cooking.
And if the player started to spend time at that
You're
window, she would
cooking.
find another one to go be at.
I mean, so Dario Casali was.
And that one behaves
trying to
differently too,
create
because it
this
like goes
final
straight
fight
for the
in
stab.
episode 2.
The Striders always reminded me of AT-ATs in Empire Strikes Back. And of course, we wanted something fresh because just rocketing a ton of Striders wasn't going to be a bit repetitive after a while. So that's when we started collaborating, talking about the Magnuson device and the hunters and how would those all come together to make
I hate him
this
so much.
sort of an overwhelming 25-30 minute battle set piece.
And they make it look so easy. No, that range was easy.
And the
Either packs of hunters,
and to a lesser extent the Strider.
where am I? Okay, or a single hunter assisting soldiers. Never one by itself so far off. Yeah, he was also stalking them at the start of episode 2. You'll have to watch all the G-Man apparitions.
To create this tension, because what we always wanted was gotten the Magnuson device on the last guy. Are you going to be able to shoot it? Oh my God, the rocket's going to be destroyed, and then boom, you hit it, so that when everyone comes out running, you really feel heroic.
I did do that.
They're
kind of right.
Space, and you're not guided anyway. You have to go and take care of this threat in a way that you think is best. I think it pays off. It makes the player feel like, I did this myself. I wasn't guided by a level designer at all, because we give them so many options, right? You can kill the hunters with driving the car into them. You can pick up the log and throw at them. You can pick up and kill the hunters with driving the car into them.
Oh, had I
you can pick
known.
up the
Oh, had
log
I
and throw them,
known.
you can pick up the Magnuson device.
I would have
and
been
throw it too
drifting
soon,
around
and
that
they'll
shit.
shoot it down. You
Oh.
have to learn, oh yeah, I have to kill the hunters first. You can use rockets to kill the hunters. Like, you have options, and you have time and you have space, but we dial the tension and the pacing up pretty slowly over time.
It is pretty cool, all the kind of cinematic destruction stuff that happens in there.
It was so hideously faked, because basically we would send a strider who would do that sort of the low scuttling run, and he would just sit there and wait, just staring at this building until the player could see the strider plus the building.
Framed up.
He would literally sit there
awesome.
forever. But we dial the tension and the pacing.
Yeah, those physics
up.
just don't happen in. I don't play a lot of
the
modern games, but like just from what
tension
I've like
and the
seen and
pacing
what I
up
know,
pretty slowly
nobody's even
over
trying.
time. The playtests we like the most is when the Strider's, he's getting ready to shoot the rocket, and then the last Magnuson device goes off, and then he's done.
Ooh. I definitely could have done that. That's pre-rendered.
Like,
Wow.
people were failing left
Even
and right,
so,
and the team.
that's the
team
craziest
was
part.
calling for the map to be cut.
Wow, yeah, I took a lot of heat for that.
And
Games these days wouldn't even pre-render that good.
We had to see it through.
We were going to do an arc of 3, of course, because that's just how you think of stories in those terms. And then you want the high point to come at the end of the second one. And Gabe at one point saying, "Who's the important character you're going to kill?" I'm like, Lamar is going down. This is going to be it. Like, I want episode 2 to end with Lamar floating into space and like everyone cries. And Gabe's like, "That's not good enough."
The episodes were, a lot of that was an experiment on.
Sort of struggles doing so
what's
many
the
physics shit
right
at one time, yeah.
Of episode. Episode 2 was longer than episode 1 and bigger, and people liked that better. But
it also took longer.
It took longer to make, and people didn't like it as much as they liked Half-Life or Half-Life 2 kind of scope, right?
Yeah.
So by
I don't
saying
understand the
episode, we're
naming
solving a lot of
convention.
problems here, or
Why
we
not
just,
call it like Half-Life 3 episode
making a
1, Half-Life 3
5-inch
episode
trade-off?
2?
You know, I think that's maybe the.
It kind of makes it confusing. Like, if you get it, you get it. But
I still don't know what that
like, I had to Google it a long time ago. I'm like, how does that
it
work?
hadn't been built. That was the feeling of excitement of something I can't even imagine is going to happen as a team. I was not like imposing like a top-down, this is what we must do to tell our very important tale. It's more like, oh, we have new features? Like, what kind of story can we do with these now?
Well, I worked on episode 3, and I was working on this gun called the ice gun that basically let you create amorphous shapes out of ice.
What?
So you could like raise
Elaborate.
a little ice wall in front of yourself. It would be
that's
attached to the floor,
sick.
and then the combine soldiers could shoot holes.
Exclusive
in it, and it would
episode 3
shatter
footage,
and
yeah.
break, like,
So
kinda like glass.
I'm gonna guess there was like nothing about this shit until November. That's not even that long ago.
I guess. So that was the
Never
primary
seen
mode.
before.
You
Wow.
could build ledges for yourself to get down, cliff faces. It had another mode that was like a kind of like a Silver Surfer mode where you would extrude the ice in front of yourself and then run along it and use it to cross gaps, go over chasms
Wow.
and things like that. What else do we have? It was
Valve
set
uploaded
in
Lost
the
Media
Arctic,
too.
it was
Yeah, I feel like that
around
E3
Borealis.
recording was probably
blobby.
the shitty version was probably the only one available.
The blobs. So we had the ISO
Always doing
surfaces,
blobs with these guys.
that we ended up using in Portal for the paint. So we had that
Close
as
2000 event too.
an enemy. It was a blob enemy,
Ugh.
and it could change its shape, and you could choreograph its shapes with some content tools.
Oh my god.
And then it could also split into little
Whoa.
poppy blobs that could, they were almost like little head crabby things, but they were little splats that would hop around. And we were doing all kinds of stuff with that. It could pass through grates.
You could get more gameplay out of
this is
something where
sick.
you had maybe a couple of creatures with simpler behaviors.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
then you would spend
through the
time
fence, through the fence.
combining them and combining them with
That's
other
so
game
cool.
mechanics.
Story was never the boss of anything, it was always we worked on a peer-to-peer thing.
I think you can feel that in Half-Life. It's like we're not telling one specific story. We're just doing cool shit in the engine,
playable levels,
and telling a story alongside
in no
that.
particular order, and a collection of story beats and story concepts. And we were still like, probably another 6 months we would have had a critical mass of like mechanics, and then start putting them in a timeline. I think probably a year and a half easily, depending on how ambitious we got. Could have been, 2.5 more years. Yeah.
Probably. It's hard to be a lot less than 2 years.
Yeah, I think we were 6 months in on it when we moved to Left 4 Dead. I don't know, we were moving at a pretty brisk pace too.
I thought that we needed to go much bigger on episode 3 or do something else, because I don't know if this is the right way to describe it, but element fatigue. I think we had really explored a lot of what made sense in the Half-Life universe and setting.
Arcane was building the Ravenholm game, and even they were having trouble doing cool new stuff with this tool set. And if those guys can't figure out a bunch of cool stuff to do with this, I think we're running out of fuel.
Episode 3 is coming along. It's like, well, it's the new big thing here. It's got to be bigger than all the stuff we just did. Even episode 2, and it's like, oh my god, it just becomes.
Are we allowed to cry in this documentary? That's what I want to know.
Left 4 Dead needed kind of an all-hands-on sort of an effort to ship, and so we put down Ep 3 to go help Left 4 Dead, and it was a really tight shipping schedule, and it required a lotot of work from everybody.
If Turtle Rock didn't struggle with game dev,
and it was worth
Valve
it.
probably would have released episode 3.
Great, but it took long enough, and this is the tragic and almost comical thing about it, was it took long enough that then by the time we considered going back to episode 3, the argument was made like, well, we missed it, it's too late.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
And we really need to make a new engine and to continue the Half-Life series and all that. And now that just seems in hindsight so wrong. We could have definitely gone back and spent 2 years to make episode 3.
And you can't get lazy and say, oh, we're moving the story forward. That's copping out of your obligation to gamers, right? Yes, of course they love the story. They love many, many aspects of it. But sort of saying that your reason to do it is because people want to know what happens next. We could have shipped it. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard. The failure was, my personal failure was being stumped. Like, I couldn't figure out why doing episode 3 was pushing anything forward.
But yeah, I mean, some of those.
Yeah, there's some tough dynamics in there.
And then Portal 2. So.
Yeah, we did other things instead.
It's not like that choice would have been free.
Right.
In terms of the players, like they may have gotten that and
given up something
else. Yeah. So it's hard to say.
But a lot of us have been doing Half-Life for 8+ years.
We saw a bunch of really compelling reasons to go explore more multiplayer-based projects too, because not only just what customers were doing, but internally, we found ourselves wanting to play a lot of multiplayers.
It sounds silly to say it because we're a relatively big company that has a bunch of stuff, but we're not that many people. There's 300 something people here, and so we're working on a bunch of different projects, and it's like, people are passionate about Portal, people are passionate about TF, people are passionate about Left 4 Dead and Half-Life and, CS and Dota. Deadlock. I mean, there's a lot of things there, and I also work on our hardware, so I've worked on Steam Deck and the original Steam controller and a tiny bit on VR. Unfortunately, for any decision we make, somebody is going to be unhappy, but hopefully we're making a bunch of people happy with the choices we do make.
If it weren't for the episodes, there'd be no such thing as Dota. And I know that sounds
the people
really
passionate
weird,
about CS TF2 are the most annoying fuckers ever.
Developing the episodes that led to, Team Fortress, to more rapid updates.
Yeah, I do remember a bit of that in the TF2 community.
This is the working on that thing, but it's also hard not to be like, man, I've seen every way that you can fight an antlion or whatever, and so you want to get some space away from it until you can come back to it with fresh eyes.
It was easy to think about VR being a vehicle for Half-Life because that was a big technological innovation and kind of a core reason for that product's existence. And I think one of the things we have internally tended to attach to the Half-Life IP is innovation.
I can't wait to play
Gameplay
that.
innovation is often
Yeah, I can't wait to play
enabled
that.
by a technological innovation. Clearly, there was a ton in Half-Life 1 and 2.
Oh, I see.
And so, yeah,
That's what they're
it's
saying.
an interesting challenge moving
Welcome,
forward to think about what that means for
Welcome,
future
Year of
Half-Life
that
stuff, for
Lamb.
sure.
The ending
Good
of Half-Life
channel.
Alyx is somewhat a self-critical
We're watching the
realization.
Half-Life
So That
documentary.
was super satisfying, and all credit to the people who are specifically
I'm actually really
involved in
excited
that
for this.
decision and
Shit.
those sets of
Oh, I'm
designs.
so
I think
excited
that-
for this.
That Half-Life represents a tool we have and promises made to customers to capitalize on innovation and opportunities.
When Valve made the
to-
Left 4 Dead 2 update back in 2020, TF2 community was so stubborn. This and that. Should have been us. Yeah, I loosely remember that. I mean, I think the biggest thing is like they just want like a fix to the damn bot problem. I think more than content, they just want that. Oh, listen closely to what Gibbs says now.
I think that Half-Life represents a tool we have and promises made to customers to capitalize on innovation and opportunities to build game experiences that haven't been involved previously. And I think that there are no shortage of those opportunities facing us as an industry right now.
Which is why Half-Life 3 will be released on Apple Intelligence. What? The bots are fixed? For real?
No fiddlesticks. What now?
Oh my god, wait, what? I didn't even know about
Alpha
this.
blood.
Okay, this is just someone playing. Wait. They say they're gonna make a comeback? Well, sure. Dude. I knew nothing about this.
Very recently.
I knew about the final big push where the TF2 community was like, hey, we're gonna make this whole... I think I signed the petition. They rolled out quietly a fix. Thank you, Yoda.
that they believe that someone from Valve has planted themselves inside of their special little Discord server.
I can't skip into the middle of a video for context. That's sick. That's sick. Okay. Wow. Very cool. But I have to end it here because I work at 5 today. But that is crazy that about right now, yesterday was when I finally realized, like, I have to go. I have my premiere going, I guess. 3 people watching right now. Hello. You got 24? They have 2. But yeah, I have my YouTube premiere set up exactly 24 hours after. So in real, I guess we could maybe watch it. We could watch it until it gets to the point, because I do have plenty of time today. Sadly, this is what they consider 1080 on a YouTube premiere. The video will look better. But yeah, I want to see the clip in real time. Oh my God, they just for what I am now. Maybe I'll keep it like this. That's sick. How is this doing? 47? Holy fuck, it's getting suggested videos. Oh. Yeah. That's really good. 17 more than usual. Oh no, okay. I guess, good title thumbnail. It's not just there's this whole thing. YouTube premieres, like, they say they're 1080, but they compress it way more than they would even a live stream. It's a whole thing I've been, like, kind of trying to figure out. Not much I can do about it. That's the worst part. But it looks better when it's uploaded as a video immediately after the premiere ends. But yeah, so here I am at 4:03 yesterday. And yeah, in my head, I seriously in my head work at 5, much like I do today. And I'm like, normally, I don't know, shit. If I have makeup on, I'll leave for work at like maybe 4:20 at the latest. So I'm like, I could wrap this up really fast, but things aren't looking good. I'm like, unless I speed run through this ending, and honestly, I'm kind of glad I didn't. Oof, terrible miss. Yep, here's that breath. But yeah, I'm already starting to get a little Some people found out they were trans with Half-Life Alyx. Ooh, I love that. I love that. Can't wait. Does it just have a huge trans allegory or? Oh, this is where I discover log. Pretty effective. IDK, and sometimes that's all it takes. What am I doing here? I see. All right. Well, how much longer is it gonna take me? Because my hard out is 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now I start thinking. This is when I start thinking about the time. And I'm like, what time would I have to leave? And yeah. Maybe 20. Oh, not 20. I'm like, not 20. 10 to 15, and here it comes. I'm just thinking about time, 4, 5, 6, all the times. No! Oh my god. Oh my god, I was supposed to go in at 4. Yup. Holy fuck. Yup. And I was thinking of today, because I had a 4 shift and a 5 shift really this weekend. Yeah, no, that's just... There's broken bones, like, what's going on? And I really wish I did leave it unmuted. I don't know what I thought he was gonna say. Like, the clip would have been golden. I probably... I don't know where it would have gone, but I probably could have got that on TikTok and done some shit. I think what it was is I didn't want to have to use like my content voice and like make content reactions. I just wanted this to be a moment where you're peering in this window of stress and like embarrassment. Pretty much, yeah. Well, all I said was like, hey, I'm so sorry. I thought I was in at 5. Okay. Give me, to 440 tops. We're gonna finish Half-Life 2 episode 2 tomorrow, everyone. So are people concurrently watching this right now? If people are watching this live? Bye, everyone. Oh my god. Well, I guess that's me. And I work at 5 tomorrow. Fuck, I had them mixed up. That's crazy that someone has been watching since 4:42 though. Or well, I guess 4:40. Did you thought Friday was Saturday? Pretty much, yeah. I don't know. Coming in at 4 is so rare. It's usually a 5 to close. So I just got tripped up by it. But having said that, oh, it's 4:07. Well, thanks for the stream. I thought that said 20 notifications. I have 2 notifications on my phone. Thanks for the stream. This was really fun. I'm glad I got to watch the documentary live after going through this big adventure. I'll do more Half-Life, but I have a couple videos. Gotta wait. I can't wait that long. What about the peak? What? I'm just gonna copy what you wrote. I can't pronounce it. Siggraph? Sure. I see. Released by Valve 2 months ago, and I bet the comments are like they're all in caps. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Valve's coming back. They know what they're doing. Oh, there's the alternate thumbnail for it. That's it. I make some good thumbnails. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I like how it's very Half-Life 1. That is so many minutes uncut of this dude and his facial expressions. Pretty much just lost media, yeah. Until now. All right, I gotta go though. I'll be live again tomorrow. Unfortunately, my goal is to go live 10 hours a week, and I keep going way past it. So I think next week might be closer to the 10. But yeah. Oh, and then I'm gone for a week after that. So, but I am liking streaming. I'm very glad. I'm very grateful for the chats. So yeah. See you soon, and stay tuned. We're doing some cool shit. 2025 is my fucking year.